I'm Dr. Barry, licensed psychologist, and here we talk about true crime and psychology. Thank you so much for joining. Let's hop right into today's topic. Let's go. Welcome. That is the new intro. I normally was using the StreamYard intro, and so glad to have this one. My mic might switch over in a moment. I didn't have my audio connect. Yes, it's connected, so hopefully y'all are hearing me through here. Let me just do a test sound just to make sure that good technology is working the way technology should. This case, so y'all, somebody emailed me or they commented on a video asking me to take a look at Nick Kassotis's in-laws because they both testified in this case. If you know nothing about this case, there are some triggering things with it. So please know that he was convicted of unaliving his wife. And he didn't just do that. She was found in four pieces, scattered, I think it was about 3 miles. That is what happened to her. His parents still very much support him, and they spoke at sentencing. If you want to take a look at that, it is available on Court TV, Law and Crime. Um, Grizzly True Crime reacted to it as well. I think RA might have covered this one too, but Grizzly True Crime, RA, all the people covered this. And I did the recaps with Kathy. So Gossip, Rumor, and Innuendo. She would give me the quick tea about the different things. And then I went back and watched some things for myself. Now, when people asked me to take a look at the in-laws, there was I think they trusted him, and it sounds like their faith was really important to them. They knew that their daughter loved him, and he was saying some off the wall things. And the whole time I'm listening to this, it's like, is he delusional or is he just lying? Is he just a lying liar? And uh, and so I cannot diagnose him. I cannot say exactly what it is. His defense did not present any type of mental health defense. The defense said it wasn't him. So in this case, there is this no lie imaginary person. So Nick Kassotis, he says that this FBI agent, Jimmy Mack, that he was telling him that his life was in danger and he gave him packages to go and distribute those places, and that's why his cell phone pinged in the areas where they found pieces of his wife. Nick was so he told a girlfriend, like a girlfriend that became his future wife. She was smart. Wife number 3 got that marriage annulled because while Mindi is the victim in this case, while Mindi was still alive, Nick started this online affair with this other person, and he told who would become wife number 3 that his wife died, but like she was still very much alive. So, but he's trying to say he had nothing to do with her death, which the jury took an hour and 15 minutes to decide on 12 charges. 12. An hour and 15 minutes for 12 charges is no time at all. The jury foreperson did an interview. I believe they did an interview with Court TV. So if you want to take a look at that, the interview with the jury foreman, there really wasn't any new information. So that's why I really don't have anything to add. The juror was just like, all the evidence pointed to him. There was no Jimmy Mack. Jimmy Mack never like so the FBI ended up investigating him. This story is just so convoluted and all over the place because he told his in-laws that Mindi died in the hospital. He said that she was 8 months pregnant, and I think there's no evidence that she was ever pregnant. I think he wanted a baby, and that's what his first wife said. That I don't know, but there was this weird thing about, was she pregnant? Was she not? Did she think she was pregnant? Did Because the motive for this is unclear, but they don't need motive to prove, the evidence and what happened. He owes his ex-wife over $1.5 million. He also, okay, Nick, he had a friend, and this friend testified in his trial, or I guess ex-friend. He had a friend that let him use a credit card, and Nick racked up over $190,000 of charges and did not pay a dime. 190,000 and did not pay a single dime of it. So my husband has, because I have like a travel card, and so I gave my husband permission to use that card. If my husband racked up $1,000 on that card, and like it wasn't something for us, or like if he just, let's say he went out and bought a Nintendo Switch 2 and a whole bunch of games on that credit card I gave him access to, I'd be going to my husband and being like, "Hey, I need," like, and I would restrict his access from that. Now, this friend was battling cancer, and this friend, I think, thought that he was going to pay them back. Okay. And I want to have the kind of money where somebody can charge $190,000 and I not immediately cut them off. I think it was over a few years. So I don't think it was like $190,000 in like a short period of time. I think it was over years. I think the prosecution is going to ask him about those charges. And Nick is going to say that Jimmy Mack did some of the charges. And the prosecutor's like, the Uber Eats that went to the house you were staying, you're saying that Jimmy Mack ordered? Like, it's just his lies are so bad. So bad. His lies are very, very bad. And my personal thoughts, because he also said that his biological parents aren't his parents. So in the midst of all of this, so before his wife, or maybe it was after his wife was deceased, he then fakes his death to his in-laws. So his in-laws thinks that he's dead, but he's just gotten a new name. He's now Nicholas Stark, and they connected it to Game of Thrones. Some people try to connect it to like Tony Stark Avengers, but his ex-wife mentioned Stark, possibly like that he watched Game of Thrones, and so I don't. So who knows what the Stark thing was exactly? I don't have that kind of credit limit for 190,000. I don't. All my cards have. I think my highest. I'm not going to say it on. I do not have a card with $100,000 limit. And there were times when a credit card company kept upping my limit, and I actually asked them to bring it down because I didn't want it's just it is what it is. Ooh, so this case has a bunch of twists and turns, but he did the thing that I personally like. So defendants, you have the right to remain silent. You do not have to give an interview to police. You do not have to testify in your trial. He decided to testify. So we are going to take a look at that as well. He claimed, and so Lisa added, he claimed that his bio parents harmed him, and he blamed them for a bunch of stuff. And they are in the courtroom. They are there. And they like like he says in his testimony, it's just it is a very odd case. Let me know if you have general questions. If you have questions, please add the little question marks in front of it. That makes it easier for me to see it. Afton, I agree. I think it's hard for them to balance out that yes, the son they knew was kind and did all these nice things while he was in the Navy. So he was a former Navy JAG officer. So he was a former Navy lawyer. Okay. So former Navy lawyer, and he's doing all these things and is not good at crime, which we love. We love it when they're not good at crime because it gives us a lot to talk about. So his bio parents, but the judge had a really good clapback for anybody that thinks he didn't do it. And so we are going to watch the judge's response. We are not going to watch his parents' response. I just can't. Okay. All right, so let's get into the ex-wife. Okay, there were parts of that I thought were interesting, and of the testimony that I watched, hers was like, I don't know. I wanted to talk about that. Okay, Sarah, Before we get into that, let's answer a question. Can parents not separate when a child ends and adult begins? So I don't know that that's what it is. I think it's they know him, they want to hold on to their good son. They don't want a murdering, dismembering son. Like I don't think they have that concept in their brain, despite like the evidence and what the jury convicted them of. I think the father is former law enforcement, and which doesn't have to mean anything, but I think the family probably thinks the investigation didn't go far enough to look into Jimmy Mack, but he didn't produce Jimmy Mack. Of all the people that he should produce Jimmy Mack. His lawyer was the lawyer from the YSL trial, and his lawyer did the best job he could do. I did watch his lawyer. So Nick's lawyer went on a true crime channel. Y'all put it in the chat. I forget the name, but I'm subscribed there, and I forget the name of the channel, but his lawyer went on a true crime channel and just said, everybody deserves a defense, and they paid his fee. Doug Weinstein is the name of the lawyer, but I forget the name of the trial. No, so I don't think it was justice served. Okay, I have to look it up. Let me find it real quick. So no, Doug Weinstein interview. It was recent. On Cat Not Williams. So he went on Cat Not Williams. Let me share this tab right here. So this video right here. Maybe I didn't finish it. Maybe I only got this far in. uh uh but yeah. So that was the one. Yes, thank you. Cat Not Williams. So that was the interview I saw. Oh, just okay. Cool. Okay. All right. So let's go on ahead and listen to the wife. Okay. It was interesting. I pressed the wrong button on my end. I wanted to make myself small and I pressed the wrong button. Technology, gotta love it. Nope. Nope, that's his testimony. I wanted to see ex-wife. There we go. It's one of those days, y'all. My son starts 3rd grade on Monday. We are super excited. We met his teacher. Everything went great. Today, before this, the reason why I was late is we went by Barnes and Noble and got some new books for him because each day he has to read for 15 to 20 minutes. And my kid will read the Dog Man series like for the umpteenth time. And I was just like, you got to pick a new book. You have, and so he picked 2 new books that he really likes, and so that's why I was running a little bit behind, and we went to the grocery store. His classroom is nut free, so I had to make sure that all of the stuff for his lunch, 'cause, we've had snacks be nut free, but his entire class, so he can't even bring nuts to lunch. So, I made sure to do all of that, so we did all the things today. So this is his ex-wife, starting at the beginning of talking about their relationship.
Know that person?
Yes,
How do you know him?
I was married to him.
From when to when?
2009 to 2015
How did you meet?
on eHarmony.
And how long after meeting him was it that you became married?
Very quickly after.
Was he in the military?
Yes,
What branch?
the Navy.
What was his job in the Navy?
He was a JAG officer.
At some point while he was in the Navy, was he deployed to Italy?
Yes,
From when to when?
So, he accused his ex-wife of infidelity, and Nick lies. So I don't know if any of that was true. And even if it was, like, it is what it is. That should be between the two of them. But they got married. It eventually didn't work out. They get divorced, and he owes her a whole bunch of money.
Prior to coming in here today?
yes, I have.
And you recognize these as documents pertaining to your divorce?
Yes,
I'll tender each of these exhibits, Your Honor. They're certified copies of those documents that I've shown to.
Oh, cool. I didn't know she got custody of Rusty, the dog. Cool. Exactly. Like who's like over $100,000? Or and what could have been happening is they might have been paying it off because so the as we're going back to the $198,000 that he spent on a credit card. They might have been just paying it off, and but they were keeping track, and so at first they were letting him borrow money, and they were just kind of giving him money that way. They actually wanted to use the credit card because it would be easier for them to track like how much he owed them, and they did view it as a loan. But you just like I just wouldn't let it get to that point. Thank you, Sarah, for gifting a membership. All right, we're gonna keep going with this one. I might have to speed it up. Y'all know me and my brain.
And it's 2.45. They're all admitted without objection.
After the action for divorce was filed, did you become separated?
Yes.
Did you move out?
Yes, I did.
Where did you move to?
I moved nearby in Alexandria.
During the period of separation, were there discussions about infidelity,
Of course.
and who raised those?
Nick did.
Did you cheat on him during the course of your marriage?
No.
I believe her. He has some weird. I think he just
How
wanted to leave
quickly
her.
was the divorce granted after the petition was filed?
It was granted in October of 2015.
Now, the court documents show Nicholas James Kassotis as the plaintiff in this divorce, and you're referred to as the defendant.
Yes.
Why is that?
We both didn't have a need for an attorney. He was an attorney and he said he could take care of it. And I trusted him that he would.
Can you see from where you're seated, a photograph states exhibit number 2.3?
Y'all. So I'm gonna speed it up just a little bit. Okay. It's just the way my brain works. I'm not gonna do the 1.5 that I normally do, but I just need to speed it up just a little bit.
Can you see it?
Yes.
You recognize the person in this photograph?
Yes.
Who is this person?
It's Mindi.
How did you know Mindi?
I knew her as his wife, his new wife.
Do you recall when you first met her?
It was by happenstance in a public setting. She had no idea who I was.
When he would refer to her, how would he refer to her?
Can you clarify the
By
question?
initials?
Yes, M.
Just how he referred to his wife.
And the grounds for the divorce were what?
Irreconcilable differences.
What were his obligations under the divorce?
He was required to pay off the personal loan or refinance it if he couldn't pay it off in his own name. He was required to refinance or pay off the truck that he was driving. And he was required to either refinance or sell the property on Adrian Drive.
And at some point, was he ordered to pay you $1.5 million?
Yes.
Did he?
No.
How long after your divorce was it before he and Mindi got married, roughly?
About a year, almost to the day.
And after your divorce from him, did you continue to correspond with him?
Yes, of course. We were very friendly. It was a very amicable divorce.
And how would you communicate with him after the divorce?
Okay. So wife number one, she was smart and she was trying to get her money. Okay. So it's my understanding she's gonna get to it at towards the end of this. She put out a like notice to all Bank of Americas, to all like I think to every bank in Virginia, that because there was a judgment where he owed her money and he wasn't paying. And he's okay, so we're gonna get there, but he's gonna say he has $35 million, but it's in his wife's name and he's trying to get access to the money. And he produced what we now know is like a fake Bank of America statement. So like he's just a lying liar. And so that's where it's like his parents know. And so that's the hard part. And I don't know what his parents do with this information. If they just think that everybody is against him, I don't know how you reconcile that. But like the evidence just keeps getting worse and worse. Oh, and his parents are in the green shirt and the like, so his dad is in the green shirt and his mom is sitting beside dad. Okay. So you can see them. It's on my right. Okay. So it's a lot. We're gonna keep it going.
Text. He came to visit with the dogs. We had 2 dogs at the time, Stitch and Rusty. Email, just whatever was convenient.
Do you know how he was employed during the time he was married to Mindy?
I was told that from him that he worked for the Department of the Navy.
I don't know that he
For how
worked.
long?
I don't know.
I don't think he was
Did he
working.
ever express interest in starting a cybersecurity business?
He mentioned cybersecurity as an area that he was interested, yes.
Between 2015 and 2019, did the defendant
I'm pausing. If you would like the videos without the pausing, I'm Dr. Barry, and the links are down in the description. Okay. Everybody else is here for my interruptions. So, wife number 3, when they started dating, she asked for his ID because they met. He DM'd her on Twitter or X now. He DM'd her on X, and she was like, I want a photo ID and I want proof of employment. And he fabricated both. So he submitted a fake ID with the last name Stark. Like he hadn't legally changed his name to Stark yet. And he also produced a fake certificate of employment. Like he's just a lying liar that just lies all the time. Like it's just you can't. And then he testified, and it's like, dude, like he could have just kept his mouth shut, because to me he just made it worse. So on cross-examination, when the state would ask him something, he would be like, y'all have it in discovery. But she's like, because if what would help him was in discovery, his lawyer would use it. Like it just he just doesn't make any sense. He doesn't make any sense at all. I'm glad you left out the type of rug, because that's kind of, but yeah. But he just lies. Lies. So we're gonna keep.
cooperate with the divorce obligations?
No,
Did that cause any kind of hardship to you?
Yes.
of course.
Like what?
It put me through a lot of emotional stress, but importantly, it put me through a lot of scrutiny for my own employment. I still do hold a security clearance that required your credit to be good and all of your bills paid.
Because if you have outstanding debt, your security clearance can be, because you're more like a foreign country could try to influence you, or like a domestic person might try to get you to do things that you're not supposed to do. Like you're a security risk if you have large amounts of outstanding debt. So she could have lost her security clearance because of him not doing what he needed to do, which was just put the stuff in his name. Like that was all he had to do. And then also give her the 1.5 million, but yeah.
That stuff. And by him not doing that for many, many months, I was in a situation where a piece of paper to submit to the Office of Personnel Management wasn't going to cut it. They wanted to see full extent of the law to pursue the resolution of that, because my employment was at stake.
So she took him to court.
Referring your attention to Exhibit 2.45B, dated 11/28/18, entitled Consent Order.
And this is why I like to talk about cases, Nishay, because a part of me was like, is he delusional? But his lies serve him. Do you know what I mean? So like he's lying about a job, so he's doing whatever he wants during the day, and he's not paying a dime. So they were living because his sister-in-law spoke. So Mindy's sister, because they were living, or maybe it's I don't know if it's brother or sister that was biologically related to Mindy, but they were living with Nick was living with his brother and sister-in-law, and their, I think, one child, I think. And then and grandma and grandpa were living there too. His in-laws were, and Nick and Mindy weren't paying any money. And so, yeah. So I think he wanted to testify. Okay. And I think they prepared it, and he says that this is all true, because his lawyer cannot suborn perjury. But if my client says this is all true, what are you going to do? But the state is like, we believe he lied. Like, I think the state at sentencing, I think they said something to the effect of like his testimony on the stand was just like fabrication. Like it was all lies. That's what the state thought. But all right, we're gonna keep it going.
He was ordered to pay you the $1.5 million plus $90,000 in interest in that consent order. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And $10,000 in attorney fees.
That's correct.
And then the case was continued almost exactly 30 days to December 28th, 2018. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And was there a hearing on December 28th, 2018?
Yes.
And Exhibit 2.45C shows the court found him not in compliance with the November 28, 2018 consent order and ordered Nicholas Kassotis to appear before the court on January 4th, 2019 to show cause why he should not be held in contempt.
That's right.
Did you go to that January 4th hearing?
Yes, I did.
What happened at that hearing?
The judge was very upset after he heard Nick testify under oath that he not only had the money, he had more than enough of the money, and that he just was refusing to pay it. So the judge was not very kind.
He admitted having how much money?
$32 million.
32. I think I said 35. 32 million.
And did he tell the court he was having difficulty accessing that money?
Yes.
What did he tell the court?
He told the court that his wife, his current wife, Mindi, was holding his funds and that he thought that she had a claim to it because it was earned during his marriage with her. And that he was pursuing other actions with her. But the judge was like, well, I can't bring her into court, but you're here. So you need to put a move on it. And I want this done. I want to see movement in a week. Otherwise your liberty is at stake.
Now, before that hearing, was there another similar hearing that occurred?
Yes.
What happened at that similar hearing?
There was a case right before ours where very similar circumstances, though not to the degree or the amount owed by any means, was playing out. And we were both in the courtroom. And that ended where the spouse that owed the money left in handcuffs. And so Nick asked to meet with my attorney and I in the mediation room after we continued. And that's when the additional $90,000 and the $10,000 came from.
So was Nick in the courtroom to witness that incident where the man was taken out in
Yes.
handcuffs?
And he didn't pay her anything. Nobody's
Did he
surprised.
ever comply with that court order?
No.
$1.5 million interest and the attorney fees.
Okay, so that's the gist of it. We are going to hop into just some of Nicholas on direct. So he's talking about an incident when I think we're just gonna listen. Okay, we're gonna listen.
You travel down to the Liberty County area?
I believe so.
Why?
This was on Tuesday, I believe, Monday or Tuesday. I believe it was Tuesday, based on the other things. And I had been told to bring those two the two bins that we had to a house. I assumed it was somebody who worked at this birthing center or somebody Jim was familiar with. And this was something we had done before, where we were going from.
So remember, Jim, to our knowledge, does not exist. Okay, nobody has any knowledge of Jim except Nick.
Point A to point B, and some or all of our stuff went to point C in between. So I brought them down. I met with a gentleman and delivered them to him.
What vehicle were you driving when you came
I was
down?
driving my Ford Explorer. It was a 2022 forest green.
Please endeavor to let me get the question out first.
I'm sorry.
You were driving your Ford Explorer and you met with a man.
Yes.
What man did you meet with?
I don't know his name. I was just directed to go to him to deliver this.
To deliver what again?
To deliver 2 totes full of personal items, things we would need for a couple days, things that I've been asked to, toiletries, some clothes, shoes, some books, things of that nature.
And where did you deliver them to?
I'm not exactly sure. It was a house, I presume somewhere in the greater Liberty County area, but I'm not exactly sure.
How'd you know where to go to deliver these?
I was given an address of a church that I was told to use as a waypoint, and then I was given GPS coordinates from there.
We've heard testimony that at some point your phone was turned off. Why was that?
I was told to turn off my phone
Okay.
because of concerns that it could be tracked.
So at some point, he gets paranoid and he thinks people are out to get him. Now, his ex wife is trying to get the money that he owes her. I'm surprised the friend that he owed over $190,000 to, that they didn't take him to court or put a judgment out against him as well. But like, to our knowledge, there is nobody that was out to get him. It's my understanding he thought somebody was out to get him because of a Wall Street Journal article, or like a, I don't know, I don't know, some article that he had written, which once again makes him like the center of it. Like, because I am so awesome and amazing and phenomenal, like people are out to get me because of this amazing information that I shared. And there's no evidence of this at all. It seems like this was all in his mind. And so there are some like psychotic disorders, or where there is this delusion of persecution and things like that. And so without assessing him, um it's hard to figure out how much of this was a grifter con and how much of this was like an actual delusion. And you would have to give psychological testing to tell the difference. And Lori was diagnosed with a spiritual delusion. Like she was diagnosed by one of the people. I like, based on things I've heard, read in court, I believe she was diagnosed um with a delusional disorder. To my knowledge, now I don't know if his competency to like stand trial or any of that stuff ever came up. He seems to understand the court system. He was a lawyer. Like he understands all of this. And a delusion is like a strongly held belief that everybody else sees is false. But like, so it's, with him, it's really hard because a lot of his lies are for his personal gain. And so, somebody would have to, so I don't think he wanted to go with the mental health defense. So the client has to want a mental health defense in order to go with one. So to me, Sarah Boone could have tried to introduce alcoholism as a possible like mitigating factor, but not in Florida, voluntary substance use can't, but like to make her look like less of an asshole, like maybe like that when she drinks, she gets, murderous, or, but like it's the alcohol, it's not her or something. I don't know. Like they could have tried to introduce something, and Sarah would not let them introduce her alcohol use as a problem. So the defendant has to, and so Sarah Boone's ego would allow it, and I think his ego. So he wants to be seen as this smart, loving husband who cared about his wife, despite like his it's so much. It's so much. But he thinks he can explain it away. And he can't.
So how did you get to the location without use of your phone?
Mindy and I had a GPS, an older Garmin GPS that,
Have that.
had always been kind of our backup. If you lose cell coverage or something like that, if you're somewhere, then we kept that with us actually for a long time.
Where's that GPS now?
That GPS, I believe, burned up in my car.
Oh, I forgot to mention that part too. Another one of Nick's, fantastical stories. So supposedly he had a check. And y'all correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. I think the check was for $80,000 because him and his new wife were supposed to close on a house. And he says he got a cashier's check for, I think, $80,000 or something. Like I think it was like $80,000. He got this cashier's check, and as he was on his way, 800. See, I thought it was $800,000. While he's in the car with this cashier's check for $800,000, the car like catches fire, and he grabs his phone, but he doesn't grab the $800,000 cashier's check. So I talked about this with my mama, Johnny Lloyd. And mama, if you are in the chat, please just comment in the chat. It's okay if you're not. Sometimes she watches and she can't comment. But my mom is an accountant, and she says the bank has to track transactions over a certain amount, over $10,000. Those transactions have to be tracked. And if And if the check was destroyed, the bank could track to make sure that it was never cashed and none of that. And there might be a chance that because the money still exists in that, but like it was just never deposited anywhere or anything. Like nobody ever got that money that was for the cashier's check. But he's saying this cashier's check for over $800,000 blew up in the car and nobody has any record of it at all. At all. And that's where at Northwest, my mom, the accountant confirmed it could have been replaced if it actually existed. But he is holding true that it existed. So that's where it's just like it's so hard. So hard with this one. And so that's where my initial response is lying, liar. Like I don't get delusional like vibes. And there are non-bizarre delusions. So bizarre delusions are Lori Vallow with the zombies. So those are like the spiritual bizarre. Like Lori's delusions are they are a lot. This is wow. Because also people with some personality traits. So if we're thinking of antisocial, so that psychopathic type personality traits where they will take advantage of others if they leave themselves open to it. Or if we're looking at narcissistic personality disorder, or the person is lying to protect their ego because they want to be seen a certain way. It's just it's a different feel, and I'm just not getting psychotic delusional, but I don't know him. I'm just sharing my thoughts, listening and watching this. Okay. It just feels like lies to me. Just feels like lies. Because a person like this, would you want him in a mental hospital? Because like people like this can start a cult. Because he's convincing. He tells his lies in a way where somebody's gonna believe him if they don't check facts. Wife number 3, she got the marriage annulled. She was good. The one that asked for I'm surprised she didn't do a background check on him. I have worked with clients that they do background checks, especially people that they meet online. But this is wow. What kind of house is he buying in Lancaster, Pennsylvania for $800,000? And he owes his ex-wife $1.5 million. So if his ex-wife finds out about this house, she's gonna put a lien against it because he owes her money. Like it's so bad. It's so bad. And I don't think any of it's true. But we're gonna keep listening because that's what we do here.
Where's the shovel you purchased on November the 4th at home?
Oh, I forgot to tell y'all also. So he's saying I didn't do any of it, and he is on camera buying the murder weapon and like all the things that were used to do the crime. I think he used a credit card, probably somebody else's credit. I don't know. But he's on camera buying the things. Kathy calls it the murder aisle. It's not that's not a real aisle. But he was on camera buying the things that were used to do the crime. So his lawyer is going to try to explain that away. He admits he bought it, but let's see if Jimmy Mack told him to buy it. We'll see. We'll see what happens. How he's going to explain away the show.
Home Depot.
I believe that was either given. Well, I know it was either given to Frank III or it was left at the house on East 65th Street.
That seemed like a lie. We're going to go back and listen to that again. So liars convince, tellers tell. So if that was the truth, it would come out in a different way, in my opinion. My personal thoughts. That felt like a lie. That feels like, oh, and I think one of the jurors did say it's like a kid with their hand in the cookie jar. The kid isn't going to admit that they took the cookies, like that's how his lies were. His lies feel very immature. Like I can't believe he thought somebody was going to buy this. We're going to rewind it because that was not smooth. All right, let's go.
GPS, I believe, burned up in my car.
Where's the shovel you purchased on November the 4th at Home Depot?
I believe that was either given. Well, I know it was either given to Frank III or it was left at the house on East 65th Street.
We've seen receipts and photos of you buying a Milwaukee knife at Home Depot. Do you recall that?
I do.
Why were you buying that knife?
one of the screens that I had put in place, the one in the living room with the TV where Frank and Betsy.
Okay. So so everything, and I think one of the behavioral arts people, I think he has his own channel. And let me find his name because y'all know I like to give people credit, but I never remember people's names because I was watching part of his video earlier. Scott Rouse, if that's how you say his last name. He did a video going over some of this, and he mentioned how quickly he answers his lawyer's questions because he's prepared. So he is very prepared for all of these questions. Because he's a former lawyer, he might have even like asked the lawyer to ask him certain questions, or like he really wanted to get certain information across. But the way that he went into this, you can tell he was prepared for it. Cross examination is always fun for me, and we are going to watch that. So let's keep it going.
Spent most of their time. There was something weird about that. It looked like it had been damaged when it was initially installed, but it would hang out quite often, and I was having a very hard time keeping the netting on it and keeping it secured up there. So I was looking for something that kind of long and thin. I thought I could trim back the netting without causing further damage to this, and hopefully get it to sit up there. This was one of Mindy's big things, was always like every place we live, you know, even though these are vacation rentals, we should leave it in a better condition than we found it.
Are you a hunter?
I am not.
Why would you buy a deer processing kit at Bass Pro Shops?
I received a message from who I believe it was Mindi on Monday, the 28th of November, and said that she'd been thinking about Christmas gifts for her brother Matthew, who is a hunter at this point. That seemed to be everything he did on weekends, and directed me to go to Bass Pro Shops and to buy it. So I did.
Where's that set of knives?
I believe I left that at the property when I departed. I left some things there that were kind of upsetting to see, and some of Mindy's. Some of Mindy.
That might have been true. That part right there, leaving some things that were upsetting to see, that part might have been true, but for a different reason. Can y'all think of any reasons why some of that might have been upsetting to see? Because he remembers like what he did. So this is Gossip, Rumor, and Innuendo. Kathy is amazing, and she tells stories in a way that my ADHD brain can follow, because I tried, y'all. So Kathy, before your videos, I tried to watch the parents, so Mindy's parents video, and I couldn't get 10 minutes in because it wasn't, I didn't know enough. But then I watched like two or three of your videos, and I've since caught up on all of them. And thank you so much for every single thing. You are phenomenal. We are going to help Kathy get to 30,000. Yes. All right. We're going to we were talking about how he's mentioning that some things were upsetting to see, but I wonder if it was upsetting because it was the things that was used for the actual crime. I'll go back a little bit. Let's keep going.
The property when I departed, I left some things there that were kind of upsetting to see, and some of Mindy's goods, some things that she had picked out.
He could also, so we're talking about, so y'all know we are here to talk about psychology. And so let me look up OCD and lying. And I'm not giving people like a reason or an excuse. So sometimes so lying can sometimes be associated with obsessive compulsive disorder. It does not happen all the time, and it is not an excuse for engaging in inappropriate behaviors, especially crimes. But some of his things made me think about compulsive and obsessive thoughts related to OCD. I am not diagnosing him. I can't do it, but like that was one of the things that went through my brain, because right there he had to correct himself and say it correctly. He just seems like a person that likes things a certain way, but it might get upset if things like don't go the way he thinks or he wants them to. Because when he's convicted, this man's blink rate is like, and we're gonna watch him hear the jury's verdict, and it's normal when you're convicted of 12 crimes, one of them being the murder of your wife, for that to be a distressing thing. But like he did not hide it at all. Like there was all types of things leaking. And so, all right, let's keep it going.
And I believe that Mr. McIntyre was coming to pick them up and store them with the rest of our belongings.
Where's the Milwaukee knife that you purchased?
The Milwaukee knife was either left in my car when it burned, or it was left in my storage unit in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
You have a storage unit in Lancaster, Pennsylvania?
I do.
What's in that unit?
Personal belongings, some excess clothing, some furniture.
I'm gonna watch for this.
Do you eventually leave Savannah?
I do. Shortly there.
So he's going to be asked if he killed his wife. He's going to say no. He's going to ask. Let me see if this is when he starts talking about his dad not being his dad. Okay, let's go back a little bit. Okay, so let's watch this part.
I did work for APIS, and I also filed to change my name.
Why did you file to change your name?
This was what we'd been told would be kind of the culmination of our, everything we were going through. That if we changed our names too soon, that our name change would be figured out, and then we would have to go through the whole process again. But that kind of the last thing we would do would be changing our last name so that we would not be found.
So he would.
And you saw the paperwork where you changed your name.
I actually physically, I went to two courthouses because I went to the wrong courthouse first, but I physically filed the paperwork myself.
Are you the one that completed all of that paperwork?
I did.
And I think he filed things across 2 different states. And I think the state is going to mention, the prosecution is going to mention that, because I think he he did the court paperwork in one state, and then he did the Social Security thing. I don't know, and then he got a driver's license in a different, it seems very crimey to me. It seems like you're trying to avoid the consequences of your actions. My personal thoughts.
Did complete that paperwork, yes.
And you said that you were the victim of domestic violence.
Yes, I did.
Why did you say you were the victim of domestic violence?
Because I believed that everything that had happened to us for years was at the hands of Wayne, my dad.
And his dad is sitting there in court. He just said he believed that everything he was experiencing was because of Wayne, his dad, and his dad is sitting there in court, and they are going to go over to his dad. And this is where it seems a little bit more antisocial to me, because I think he got a little, so I don't know how he's feeling. I'm just thinking, okay, so these are just my personal thoughts. It seemed like he got almost a little embarrassed, or there might have been a little guilt. He was almost trying to not say it. It seemed like he wanted to not say it, but for his story to make sense, because it's all lies, he kind of wanted to say this thing, but he almost felt a little, I don't know, it was something trying to keep it back, but he didn't. He said the thing.
Mentioned an incident in Charlottesville that you believed was Wayne attacking you, correct?
Yes.
Were there any other encounters between you and Wayne prior to you filling out that form?
Absolutely. He came to Savannah. He found us.
This is his dad. His dad. I don't think correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, I don't think his dad testified for him.
In Savannah when we were living on East 65th Street, and came one morning and knocked on the door.
He knocked on the door of your home?
Yes.
And that's not a DV incident. That could be your parent visiting you, especially if you won't talk to them. Because I think he had cut contact with his parents. I don't know.
Was anyone with him?
Yes. Yeah. His brother Chet was with him.
Do you see them in the courtroom now?
Yeah. My dad is right there in the blue polo, and my Uncle Chet is 3 people down from him.
What did you do when you saw them at your doorway?
I was terrified. We had a near miss from a hurricane the night before, so a lot of people, Betsy and Frank included, had left Savannah, but it ended up coming ashore north of Charleston. But I assumed it was the homeowners, the gentleman, Matt and his wife, who testified, that were coming to check on the house, just make sure there was no damage. So I opened the door. I hadn't had any coffee yet. I assumed that it was them, and I was very shocked when I opened the door.
What did you do when you saw them?
I think I said, why are you here? How did you find me? Or something like that. They said, that they had hired somebody to track me down. They asked if I would come somewhere with them private to talk. I said, absolutely not. And then I shortly thereafter, I slammed the door
Jury did
and
quiet.
locked it.
Was Mindy there when this happened?
Mindy was in the bedroom with the door closed at this time. Her sleep schedule was kind of a mess at this point. She would, sometimes be awake all night because she couldn't sleep. Then she would be asleep all day. But at this point, it was probably 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm not kind of guessing, but she was in the bedroom.
Did she witness any of this?
She did not know.
What did you do after you slammed the door?
I went into the bedroom and told Mindy, Wayne just knocked on the door. I opened the door, like he knows where we are, and we called Jim McIntyre.
And then what did you do?
He asked details about it, and
Remember that Jim does not exist in real life. Okay. If Jim exists, or Jim is like a Nigerian prince or so, like Jim, I don't know if Jim this was back in 2022. I don't think AI was even that big of a thing back. Like you didn't have the talking AI chatbots like you do now. This is not. So the dad gave a very brief statement. The dad didn't explain like why his son said weird things, like none of that. He gave a statement saying like he's this kind person. He said a different word because the Nick's mother and father described him a very similar way. It was like kind, and there was another word that they both used, gentle or something like that. I don't think that is how Mindi would describe him. I don't know that that's how the woman that he owes $190,000 to. I don't think that's how she would describe him. I don't think that's how his ex-wife. So this was his interaction with his parents, and that's where two things can be true at the same time. Okay. So that's where there's some people, they live down the street from somebody that does a horrible crime and they're like, oh my gosh, like they were so nice. They picked up after their dog. Like, I don't like, they're often surprised, like, oh my gosh, I would have never suspected this person. So in the same person, two different things can exist. So things aren't black or white, good or bad. Like we live our life in the gray. And that's why I don't believe in like a murdery face or like what people that do crimes, they don't look a certain way. They engage in certain behaviors. There are certain red flags. So he crossed boundaries, in my opinion. Like he lied with no like, because so like when he borrowed the credit card from the friend to so that he could live off of it, he was battling cancer. Like he didn't care. In my personal thoughts, my personal opinions, he did not show any ounce of care in his behavior. Okay, so sure, he might have been good in words. I guess, like he presents okay, I guess. But then you listen a little bit more and it doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. If you're like me or Kathy or Afton or a lot of other Sarah, a bunch of other Lisa, a bunch of other people in the chat that I got questions. What do you mean? Like I said, I mentioned it earlier and I want to mention again. If my husband charged really $500 on my credit card, okay? If my husband charged $500 on my credit card, I'd be looking at him like, when are you going to pay me back? Unless we agreed that he was going to use it. Because let's say he was booking travel and we agreed he was going to use the card and like our money pays it off. Sure. Like that would be fine. But like if he used my card like it was his card and didn't expect to pay me back, we would have a problem. So we got true crime. I got questions. I want to know. I am not ride or die. I am like I got questions. Where are we going? Where are we eating? How many stops do we get to make? Can we stop by Buc-ee's on the way? I don't know. I got questions. Okay, let's keep it going.
And then he told me that since Mindy had not been seen, that he felt like it was better for her to kind of hunker down in the house with Rusty, and that I should meet him. He directed me to a hospital that we'd previously identified as a safe place to meet. We had told Betsy and Frank that if they ever felt that they were being followed on the way home from work, that they should go to this hospital. I believe it's the Chandler, or I don't know. It was about 2 blocks away. There was always a security vehicle sitting in the lot. He said that there were cameras there,
Robert Tellis.
and so he told me to meet him there.
Let me go back to something real quick that we
So Robert Tellis came off more narcissistic than he does. Like this comes off like covert because he makes himself the victim. Like I think that's why he wanted to say that his first wife cheated on him to make himself the victim. But hey, Tanika, oh my gosh, like I just can't. And so we just got a Buc-ee's in Virginia. I have not went yet. It's about 2 hours for me, I think. I am going to go at some point. But because right now, before that, we would have to drive to Florence, South Carolina, and that's just too far. But I will be going to that Buc-ee's eventually. Buc-ee's. All right. ADHD. Okay. All right. Y'all are here for the interruptions, facial expressions. Yes, Robert Tellis. His was more like, I'm the best. It wasn't me. It was somebody like that looks a lot like me. Like he also had this imaginary, like it wasn't me. Y'all can't prove it was me. But his story didn't make any sense, and the jury convicted him. All right, let's keep it going.
heard when Frank III testified, he was required to be out of the house from before lunch to what, 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was following this incident. So when we first got there, we did not have any rules on what we could do when. But following this, we had a number of changes and basically how we lived that were implemented.
Who implemented those new rules?
Mr. McIntyre. I believe he emailed them about them personally. They were sometimes in email contact, Frank and Betsy and him, but I would sometimes see these emails or hear reference to them. Sometimes they were, I thought, unnecessarily mean, but
What email service did you use?
at this time, I used Proton Mail.
Could you describe to the jury?
A lot of crimes happen on Proton Mail. He was also using Signal at one point with a friend that he owed $198,000. Sometimes he would make his messages disappear. She never made her messages disappear. She was able to provide her messages to the authorities.
Any unique features of Proton Mail, if there are any?
Yeah, there are a couple. First is that if both people have Proton Mail accounts, then messages sent from a Proton Mail account to another Proton Mail account are encrypted. So if Mindi and I were emailing notes back and forth to each other, or sending each other things, if we were dealing with other people who used Proton Mail, then those would be encrypted. Even Proton Mail can't read those messages. Only the people on either end of the conversation can. The other thing about it is that they are a company that doesn't sell your information. Most email providers, as the saying goes in kind of the privacy world, if something is free, that means that you're the service. That means that they are selling you in some way, either through advertising or much more commonly, they're selling your personal information to anyone who will buy it.
You seem to go really out of your way to remain private, to communicate privately with Signal and as well as Proton Mail. Why is that?
Because I thought we were being hunted, literally. I was scared to death for years and years.
After you changed your name in St. Louis, and that's where you changed your name to start, correct?
Yes, it is.
Where did you go next?
I went to Pennsylvania.
Why did you go to Pennsylvania?
I had struck up it started as a friendship and then had grown somewhat flirtatious with another writer. And I was going
His wife number 3, I thought. I could be wrong.
to see her.
You were having an internet affair with a woman that was not your wife, correct?
I wouldn't call it an internet affair. I mean, it was mildly flirtatious.
The lawyer tried to give him one. Like, dude, if you can just admit this is an affair, maybe you're a truthful person. I wouldn't call it an affair. Dude, no. Oh my gosh.
But
When did that begin?
we started. She had thought that we had talked on and off years before, and we may have. I had a lot of social media accounts deleted and restarted over the years, but we started talking in earnest in either September or October of 2022.
Can you please tell the court her name?
Samantha Kolyesnik. Trying to pronounce that correctly.
And we saw text messages between you and Samantha, direct messages in Twitter,
Yes,
between you and Samantha Kolyesnik, correct?
absolutely.
Do you recall telling Samantha Kolyesnik that your wife had died some years prior to her actual death?
I did.
Why did you tell her that?
This goes back to the fall of 2020. We were in Beaufort and Mindi got sick.
The fall of 2020, when you started, like, were you having murderous thoughts about your wife? Like, what in the world? If my husband ever told somebody I was deceased and I'm alive, we would have a problem. My husband's amazing.
And within a day or two, took a COVID test and it was positive. This was pre-vaccine, and we called Mr. McIntyre. He had somebody come and pick her up and take her to the hospital. And I was told
I don't believe that. I'm sorry. The FBI agent came to pick her up because she got COVID? No, you're not in protective custody. Why? Why did he think we would believe this? Like, why did he think we would believe the FBI agent got because you wrote an article about something? I don't even, the article, whatever the topic was, it wasn't, I can't remember it. It doesn't, I just can't. But like, this is why we watch this stuff. He's saying it with a straight face. And I just can't. Incredible in all the wrong ways. In all the wrong ways. In all the wrong ways. All right, let's keep it going.
within a matter of days that she was not expected to live. It was Rusty and I in Beaufort. And I was told that I was not allowed to talk to any of our close friends or our family about what was
I think that's by Jimmy Mack, who doesn't exist.
going on, because nobody was allowed to see her. She was in a COVID ward. At that point, since none of us had vaccines, nobody was going to be allowed in, and that the chances of where I was being identified were extremely high. And I was, using social media to talk to people. I was a wreck. I was not doing well. And I started communicating with an old friend of Mindy's, or maybe an old acquaintance would be the better term.
I don't know why he's going into all
by the
this.
name of Joy, and
So just in case you forgot the question, I believe this question started with, why did you tell your internet friend the affair, why did you tell her that your wife was dead? So we don't need all of this information. Mindi got COVID. I thought she was going to die. I contacted her. Why do I need all this information? And that's where he's trying to convince. He's not just telling the story. This isn't how somebody that's telling the truth, in my opinion, this isn't how you would say it. It's just not.
Came to it became much more romantic in nature, to the extent that she came and visited me twice in Beaufort, and that we had talked that after Mindi passed away, we were going to move to be near her family in Minnesota.
But when you told Samantha Kolyesnik that Mindi had died, that was in October of 22, I believe.
Yes. Following this, Mindi recovered in late December 2020. It was very, very unexpected.
So wait a minute. He sent the message. His lawyer's a good lawyer. Okay. So Doug is over here wait a minute. You're saying that you told in October of 2022, you're on Twitter saying your wife is dead when she's very much alive because she got COVID in 2020? Even his lawyer is a little bit sir, Are you sure? That's what we're gonna go with. Okay. It's his choice. Okay. This was his choice. This was his choice. But like, because the state is gonna eat him alive. Like, so we are gonna get to cross-examination. The state is gonna eat him alive because this is just, oh, did it still go off? My mic should be fine. Yeah, so it should still be fine. We'll keep it going.
And Jim was, frankly, he said he reviewed. He had not been reviewing my social media as closely as he had at the beginning, and was frankly extremely livid with me that I had been talking to people that I didn't know well, that I had been saying outside of Signal. I had been saying where I was, what was going on with Mindi. I was frankly trying to survive. So we had almost no social media access for a period of months. He said that we had both in the past said things to people on social media that we didn't know well, that we shouldn't have. And then following that, he said he had some new rules for us that we, he said that since I had told so many people that I was married, that I had to start saying that Mindi had passed away, that she had died of COVID. I told, but that was what I told all of my kind of online writing friends.
So Jimmy Mack. So we are now blaming Jimmy Mack for why he lied to his girlfriend about why his wife was still alive. The FBI agent. Okay.
In the writing community. And he said that was to keep her safe. I don't recall what exactly she was supposed to say, if she was just supposed to say that she was unmarried or divorced, or if something had happened to me. We didn't talk a lot about our kind of individual chats with other people. Mindi and I did not talk about that with ourselves. So that became a running thing that I was supposed to tell anyone that I befriended, that I talked to more than a handful of times, was that I was widowed, that my wife had passed away. And it started by saying she died of COVID. And then as she would get medical attention for various things, he would change that, because he said if medical records of where she had been ever leaked, it would look consistent.
So you went to Pennsylvania to see Samantha.
Yes, I did.
Wife number 3.
When did you get to Pennsylvania? Do you recall?
Mid-December, maybe the 16th.
What did you do when you got to Pennsylvania?
And I think Mindi might have still been alive, or if she was dead, it's like, because like he was convicted of that crime. So Mindi died in late. So I believe she was recovered. Let me see when her remains. So it's late 2022 but I think she wasn't recovered until hunters found her on December 2nd, 2022. Okay. So Mindy's been recovered. We didn't mention the fact, for anybody that's new to this trial. Okay. For anybody that's new to this trial, when he told her parents that she died, they did not ask for a death certificate. And I'm not blaming them. Because I think they were just nice, trusting people. Okay. I have questions. I went to a funeral this past weekend, last weekend. I went to a funeral and I saw the death certificate. And I didn't ask to see it. Like, it was just, we were talking, it came up. But there was no death certificate. There was no funeral. There was no service. He then fakes his death to her parents too, because the FBI shows up and they're like, we need to talk to you. Do you know a man by this name? And they're like, yeah, he died. And I'm like, no, he's still very much alive. And we suspect that he did something horrific to your daughter. So, all right. Was she supposed to be? So that's where, like, to me, he was the person that was causing her harm. So so people are saying Darvo deny, y'all know, attack, reverse victim, and an offender. And so he's trying to make himself the victim when we all see she was very much the victim in this situation. We're gonna keep it going.
I had rented a place in a little town called Ephrata, kind of Lancaster. I think it's Lancaster County. unpacked the things that I still had with me and got Rusty situated, and then Samantha and I went out for dinner.
We saw a driver's license you procured in Delaware.
Yes.
Why did you procure a Delaware driver's license?
After the name change was finalized, which was January 4th, I had filed it in late December, and then on January 4th, I went back to court. I had a hearing before the judge. I explained my situation, and she granted the name change. I had started the process of.
Oh, because you can't change your name if you owe people money. And I think he lied about that too. Okay. So because you can't, some people try to change their names because they have judgments against them. And so I think he lied to the judge because he said he didn't owe anyone money, but he did. So he lies. Okay.
Changing other things. I went to the Social Security office when I was told to in Delaware, and I changed my Social Security number to reflect my new name. I changed
to avoid wife number one and that over $1.5 million judgment. And I think he was trying to create a new life. Okay. I'm glad he got found, and he was going to, I'm glad all those things happened, but he was on, to me, this is suspicious.
my name to reflect my. No, I think I said it right the first time. I'm sorry. So I update it just like, women have to if they change their name after marriage or, something like.
When you tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory. Okay. So when you tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory. I think Judge Judy said that.
Like that, you go to Social Security, that's your first stop, and you say, this is why my name changed, either the marriage certificate or the name change order. And so what was once, Nicholas James Kassotis on the Social Security number is now Nicholas Killian James Stark.
And how long did it take Social Security to update that information?
Yeah. So Killian James Stark. Let me see. Was that from Game of Thrones too? Killian Game of Thrones. Let me see if that was on Game of Thrones. Yeah, Killian Lannister. So this is it. It was Game of Thrones. Like that's yeah. So yeah, he was into Game of Thrones. This is fantasy. Okay. Oh my gosh.
It takes them apparently about 24 hours. So I didn't realize this at the time. I left the Social Security office and went to the DMV in Delaware. And when I got there that morning, I was told, no, this will take, it might be done today, but more likely it will be sometime. And this was on a Friday, I believe. So it'll be sometime after the weekend.
I forgot the question.
What name is on your Delaware driver's license?
Nicholas James Kassotis. I went back that afternoon to a different DMV and filled out. I had my name change order. I had.
I'm gonna have to rewind that. Sir, why? Sir, why? Wait a minute. So it was Stark from was it Luke? Y'all know me and names. So I think it was the Stark, the first person that died in Game. So if you haven't seen Game of Thrones, I'm sorry. But I guess it was the Stark family. I don't know. But he named himself Nicholas Lannister James Stark. That was the name that he chose for himself. I think he was trying to be grand, but he's just not. Sir, why did you go back and change your name again? I am thoroughly confused. Thank y'all for watching this with me because I could not stand this by myself.
So it'll be sometime after the weekend.
What name is on your Delaware driver's license?
Nicholas James Kassotis. I went back that afternoon to a different DMV and filled out. I had my name change order. I had a printout from Social Security. I had some documents that Mr. McIntyre had provided, and then I explained the situation, and the woman said, "Oh yeah, I think this will be fine." At this point, we went through the entire process.
I don't believe any of those words. DMV is not that. What? So wait a minute. I went to DMV recently to get my real ID. So I have a passport card that I can fly with, but I wanted my Virginia driver's license updated to a real ID. I got an appointment. Okay. And y'all, I felt like I felt rich because I walked by 30 people because I made an appointment. There was an appointment line, and then there was an everybody else line. I had an appointment. I got to walk straight up there, and I wish I had went in there and been like, you know, all that paperwork I just filled out and all that work so and so just did. I need you to undo all of that and just issue me a different driver's license. And the people at DMV are going to be like, understanding and okay, sir. What? No, I don't. I don't believe any of those words. I don't believe any of that happened. This is his fantasy. It has to be. That's how I
She
feel.
had me pay. She gave me the card. It came off the printer, and I said, "This is the wrong name." And she said, "Oh yeah, this is it hasn't updated in the system yet, so I can't issue you one under your new name. You're gonna."
I don't believe, sir, sir, sir. So I don't. In Pennsylvania or whatever state he's in at this point, did they give you the license that day? Because so in Virginia, it comes in the mail. I did not walk out with a real ID. It's coming in the mail. I did not walk out with it. I don't think any of this is true. I just don't think it's true. You went for the same reason. Yes. And thankfully all of my name stuff matched because for real ID, it's like, but I had my valid passport, my social security card that had my address listed on it. And so like it was a super easy process. Everything was in my married name because if I had my maiden name social security card, I would have had to also have my marriage, I think an original copy of my marriage license. So everything, it was but y'all, like it took the jury an hour, less than an hour, I think hour and 15 minutes. It was less than an hour and a half for 12 charges. He was found guilty of all of them. Spoiler alert. Too bad for the spoiler. Sorry, I gave it. Let's keep it going.
have to come back next week. But here's your Delaware driver's license. And I was a little unhappy I had paid for it, frankly.
Is that what they do in Delaware? I don't know that you're walking out with a printed license in Delaware. If y'all are, kudos to Delaware, Virginia. It's coming in the mail. I still don't have my real ID. I went on August 5th. I'll have to check the mail for that. It might be downstairs. I'll have to check.
Tell us about your time in Lancaster County.
I started going to Lancaster County, fairly regularly on weekends to see Samantha.
And did that relationship continue to grow?
It did, yes. It was romantic. It very quickly grew serious.
She regrets
Probably
all of it.
unhealthily fast. In both our situations, but yes.
Especially yours with the murdered wife and all. And she got that marriage annulled. Wife number 3, she was very smart. And I think it's hard to get, according to Kathy, I watched Kathy's video. It might be hard to get marriages annulled but he lied. He lied to her about everything. Because she had a fake name. So I think he was trying to get a license with the Nicholas Stark name because that's the name that's what she thought his name was. I think he was still trying to be both. And also, I think he's Jimmy Mack. We haven't talked about that yet. I think he's emailing. Did we check his phone to see? But he might be using like a special encrypted thing where they couldn't break into it. But I think he's Jimmy Mack.
And you eventually got married, correct?
Yes, we did.
When did you get married to Samantha?
April 21st of 2023.
His wife was recovered December 2nd of 2022. Okay. He met her in October. No, like get married fast. Like, no, but he met the new person October of 2022. I think they met in person. Like we listened to all of that. And then they were married in April of 2023. She got that annulled.
We've seen pictures of your burn.
Because I think he was arrested was it May? He was arrested May of oh geez. That's why she got it annulled. He was arrested May of 2023. When Mindi's remains were finally identified through familial DNA. So they had to use DNA to identify her. Which just and the jury had to see all of that. He could have saved us all from this, but he didn't.
Ford Explorer. What happened?
Sir. On March, believe it was March 20th of 2023, I was driving the Ford Explorer. I had left the rental we were staying at, driven north to run some errands, and also to, I believe, picked up a cashier's check for the purchase of a home. And
Right.
shortly thereafter, I was making a turn onto another road, and the car was kind of fighting me a little. Like it was taking more force to turn than I thought it would. I continued down the road and was smelling something odd, which in Lancaster County is not necessarily indicative of anything but that you're driving by a farm. And I stopped. At that point, I realized that there was smoke in the interior of the car. I got out, and crossed around to the passenger side to get my phone out, but opened the door, and the fire kind of just came right up at me. It was the car went up extremely fast.
What injuries, if any, did you suffer?
I suffered some burns to my face. I lost a lot of hair, like an eyebrow, and a lot of hair off the side of my head. I also had a burn to my right eye. It didn't occur to me before this that your eyes could actually get burned, but they can.
What happened to the goods that were in your vehicle?
Everything was destroyed.
You mentioned picking up a cashier's check to purchase a home.
Yes.
Tell me about your home purchase.
Sam and I had been looking for places to live, and we had settled on a house in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
But he had no money. I don't know that he had money, or any money he has. I think he's like gotten from other people.
When was the closing date?
Closing date was March 20th.
Did you put any deposit on the house?
I put a $50,000 EMD on the house.
Did you ever, where was the cashier's check from?
I believe it was from Citizens Bank, but I did not physically draw the
Huh? Excuse me. You have a cashier's check? I'm sorry. I'm gonna let him say it.
Cashier's check. I looked at it to verify that the name of the closing company was right, that the amount was right, and I believe it was a Citizens Bank cashier's check. Actually, I know it was a Citizens Bank because I called Citizens Bank thereafter to discuss with them.
You say you didn't draw the cashier's check. Who
Yes.
drew the cashier's check?
Somebody that Jim McIntyre worked with, who he had me meet.
Y'all. No. FBI agent is helping you get what? Like I just can't. I just can't. And he's trying to say, I think he thinks, oh, yo, he's making me cry. And not like I'm like this, the FBI agent like told you, got somebody to go and get the cashier's check for you for $800,000 that then miraculously got this. What does this have to do with his wife? Like but okay, we're gonna include this in the story because it goes into the prosecution's thing that he's a liar, liar, liar. Pants, all car on fire. Liar, liar, liar. I don't. If the car was set, I think he might have set the I think he might have set the car on fire. Ew.
He didn't pick up that morning.
And what happened to the check?
The check burned along with my car, bits of me, and everything I had in the car at the time.
What'd you do about the destroyed check?
Best believe if I have a check in the car. No, I'm not gonna. So like, but if I have enough time to grab my phone, I have enough time to grab the cashier's check that I need to close on the house. Like if his mouth is open, is just I don't, and I do think he might have told the truth once, or I think maybe that once when he said that he didn't like looking, he got upset about bad memories with the hunting tools. That part might have been true. Oh my gosh.
I talked to Mr. McIntyre. I mean, within, I don't know the exact time. It was pretty shocking. But I was driven back to the rental by a police officer, and I called him while I was still in the police officer's car to say I need a new cash.
If you called, so there would most like what? If you what? Wouldn't there be footage if you're in the back? Normally, you're not going to sit up front in a police car if they are driving you somewhere. At least not in Virginia. You're not sitting up because it's a safety thing. They're not going to let you sit up front. Oh gosh.
Cashier's check, and he said, I think that might take a while. I think that's a problem. So while he was calling about the actual account, I was calling the general Citizens Bank customer service, and they confirmed to me that it was a long process to get a cashier's check reissued, because their concern is they have to honor a cashier's check. So they have to wait a certain amount of time after they have issued the kind of stop payment on it to make sure it has not been presented at some other bank.
Was the cashier's check the only way to make the final payment on that home?
Later on, we learned that it was not, that we could wire, and I received wire instructions later.
So you eventually wired and closed on the home?
No, we did not. By that point, we had gone back and forth with the owners of the house via our realtors. We had, it had been a very stressful couple of weeks. I mean, we had utilities on in the home. We had furniture being delivered that was sitting in the driveway that I was having to pick up and move into storage.
So if he was my client, okay. So remember, I'm a psychologist. I'm not his psychologist. If this is so I've had clients tell stories in this way, and at first I say nothing at all. At some point I ask if they think I might not believe them, because there are people that believe that they have to keep talking because they're trying to like get validation about what they're saying. But I think he's trying to convince the jury, and he's trying to he's fighting for his life because he wants to be found not guilty. He wants everybody to believe this Jimmy Mack story that makes no sense whatsoever. None. You have an FBI agent handling your closing on your deposit for what? What? Your realtor isn't even going to go to the bank for you. Somebody else went. So you didn't go to Citizens Bank. Somebody else went to Citizens Bank to get the cashier's check that you're going to use for it doesn't make any sense. And it would be totally verifiable if any of it was true. Okay. Oh, we just have a little bit left to this. I think less than 3 minutes.
It was a very stressful time, and I was dealing with physical injuries and didn't have a car at this point. So it was an absolute nightmare. And Samantha said to me that she felt like the entire process had been so poisoned that she no longer wanted to go through with the purchase of that home. So we informed the buyers that we were not going to close. I forfeited that.
If he had bought a house, because he has a judgment against the other name, Nick Kassotis. He has an open judgment. Like his ex-wife could come after any properties that he owns. And so it's probably a good thing that Samantha ended up not getting that house with him. It's a very good thing. She very blessed.
$50,000 EMD, and we started our home search anew.
It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make sense. It's normally not true.
Did you ever eventually buy a home with Samantha?
We did not. We were looking. We were actually going. We had four home showings scheduled on the day of March 12th. When
You were arrested.
What happened on March the 12th?
I was arrested shortly after leaving our residence or our rental.
Did you kill your wife, Mindi Kassotis?
I absolutely did not. I've never put my hands on a woman. I've never hurt a woman. I would never have hurt Mindi.
Did you strike her on the head up to 9 times?
Never, not once.
Did you dispose of her body?
No, never.
Did you dismember her body?
No, absolutely not. Frankly, I'm not great with blood. So as anyone who's ever given me a doctor's exam can tell you, that is not something that is even remotely possible for me.
My last question is just, is there anything else that you would like to say that I haven't asked you about?
Objection, Your Honor.
Yeah, it can be open.
That calls for narrative.
Want to respond?
His life is at stake. I don't want to make a mistake and not give him the opportunity to say something.
Here, I'm not trying to prevent him from saying anything, but counsel has to actually ask him.
Counsel has to ask him a question. I think this woman is one of Mindy's former friends. I think she testified as well. I'm trying to switch over to his cross examination. There we go. All right. So y'all, if you have a question, make sure to put the question marks in front of it. I am monitoring the chat as we go. Ooh, cross examination. Let's hop right in. All right. Closed caption. Let's go. There's wrestling. So there's like crinkling. It's not me. Okay. That bothers me though. The wait for the jury. I don't love his haircut, but that's okay. He's in jail. Do you know what I mean? You can't always get good haircuts, but that's a really, really bad haircut, but it's okay.
Seated.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
That's very Southern, just like great, good afternoon. Like, hey, like there's no animosity. Like, good afternoon. Like, we can, but like, I think you killed your wife. So let's talk about it.
Mr. Kassotis, or Mr. Stark, you indicated that you were a officer in the Judge Advocate General Corps, correct?
Jag.
Yes, I was.
And you were in that capacity for over 10 years, right?
Roughly 10 years.
You went to Boston University College.
Yes, I did.
You went to Northeastern Law for your JD.
Yes, I did.
And then you got your LLM in cybersecurity from Georgetown, correct?
It was in national security with a emphasis in cybersecurity.
Why do people always have to correct those things? He could have just said yes. Langston, do you need something? Langston, did you say something? Okay. I think my child's okay. I thought I heard somebody asking. I thought I heard somebody saying mommy. I didn't. All right, let's keep it going.
Okay. All prestigious schools, right?
Yes.
You did very well in school, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Smart.
And as a JAG officer, you indicated that you were both a defense attorney and a prosecutor during your term as an officer in the JAG.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I forgot to mention
Be fair to say that the
he was a prosecutor in the JAG office. And does he think we're dumb? Like, does he really, really think like this? It makes no sense for him. He could have just not said anything at all. You have every right to not testify. He wanted to get up and to say these things to explain his not affair, and that the reason why he said his current wife, who was alive at that time in October of 2022, the reason why he said she was dead was because she got COVID in 2020. And Jimmy Mack told them to tell people that she was what? What did he really, really think? But sometimes people overestimate their own ability to convince others. So he's been convincing. He convinced Mindy's parents. Like he's convinced a lot of people of a lot of things. Okay. Like, this is the first time he's effing around and finding out. Like, he's normally just effed around and enjoyed like taking, I don't know, my personal thoughts. And based on what he said, he took advantage of people and was a bit of a grifter. But okay, I digress.
Navy requires JAG officers to be very on top of your cases, right?
Absolutely.
To be careful with records, correct?
Correct.
To be careful with what you send to whom, correct?
Absolutely.
You check and double check pretty much everything, right?
Sometimes many more checks than that.
You never looked at Jim McIntyre's credentials, right?
Correct.
Now, I just want to start with some of the things that we have in evidence. I'm showing you 2.26C. This is the photograph from Home Depot. That's you, right?
Yes, ma'am.
In the murder aisle, buying the murder weapon. There's no murder aisle. That's just what Kathy calls it. I think that's fine.
And that receipt that's attached to that from November 29th of 2022, that's also you, right?
Yes, ma'am.
It says your name on the receipt, correct?
I believe it does, yes.
It also says that you bought the Milwaukee Smooth Blade insulation knife on November 29th of 2022 at 8:56 a.m., correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you saw the testimony from Special Agent Bernie with the FBI, correct?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And that showed that your vehicle, your phone, and your business record put you in the vicinity of that Home Depot, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't dispute that, do you?
No, ma'am.
And in fact, you then watched as he showed all of the different waypoints of your vehicle traveling down towards Riceboro, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't dispute that that was your car, right?
No, ma'am.
You don't dispute that that was your phone, right?
No, ma'am.
And you don't dispute that that was you in the vehicle at the time.
That is correct, ma'am.
Okay. You saw the records introduced concerning the 2022 Ford Explorer purchased from J.C. Lewis, correct?
Correct.
And I'm pointing to 1.19. Do you recall seeing those business records introduced here in court?
Yes, ma'am.
And you don't dispute that you bought that car, correct?
I do not dispute that.
You don't dispute you paid cash for it?
It was a check, but yeah,
It was the full amount.
conversationally, yeah, you paying cash rather than financing. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you bought that car under your own name, correct?
Yes.
And that purchase was
I believe it was July 27th of 2022.
right, correct?
He like so defendants like so I haven't watched all of this. So I'm watching this with you all for the first time. It reminds me of Shanda Vander Ark also wanting to correct things. And this is where I'm getting some like OCD personality or possibly like he needs it to be correct. And he's like wanting to get the story because he doesn't think she's gonna catch him slipping up. Like he could have just sat there quietly. If she's sitting there looking for it, he doesn't. Why is he helping her? Trying to get to lunch? Like he could have just sat there and not did anything. And it's fine that he tried to help her. It's fine, but so I think he wanted a baby because he's the one that told the new girlfriend that his wife or the new girlfriend that his wife I think died in labor. Like I think he wanted this story of her dying in labor or something. Like her, I don't know. Like it's weird. I don't think there was any indication that she was ever pregnant, ever went to one OB appointment, so no doctor's appointments to confirm pregnancy. Even if somebody finds out late, because let's say they realize later that they're pregnant, like I don't think we have any sonogram pictures or anything that proves his point. Because I think he's trying to say she was 8 months pregnant when she died, and I don't think she was pregnant at all. I don't think she was pregnant at all. So he's a fiction writer as well, and the judge is gonna make that up. Like there's some weird. He has a weird relationship with the truth. And that's me being nice. A weird relationship with the truth. Okay, let's keep it going.
Yes.
Okay.
Amen.
And when you bought that vehicle, that did not have a police intercept package on that vehicle, correct?
I don't believe so. I'm not sure what a police intercept package is, though.
Right. Because if it did, you would have paid extra for options, right?
Right. I mean, there were options on there that I did pay extra for. I assume that anything else would have been also additional.
Now,
I'm sure his lawyer just told him to answer as briefly as possible. Just try to say yes or no, and to not try to explain. I'm sure his lawyer advised him about how to respond to questions. I think Nick does what Nick wants to do. And I think Nick thinks he's better at all this and smarter than everybody. But I don't get any signs of schizophrenia, me personally. Normally with schizophrenia, there's this odd, but like there's some additional signs and things. I've worked with individuals with schizophrenia before, and it just feels different. This feels grifter, a little like antisocial, or is it like this just feels different. I have not assessed him. I can't speak to what diagnosis he may or may not have. We're just saying in general, these are some of the things that come to my mind when I'm hearing some of this. He did not have a psychological evaluation. They did not do a pre-sentencing report. So he's already been sentenced. I think I don't know if this is a whatever state, Georgia? I think they're in Georgia. Whatever state they're in, I don't know if that was just their thing, but like he was found guilty and they sentenced him immediately. So, all right. He has this child thing. Yeah. Mad that two wives couldn't get pregnant. And I wonder if he ever got checked. Yeah. Like I wonder if he was infertile, if the women were just fine. But he's the type of person I think would blame the woman if she couldn't, like, I don't think he would ever think there was something wrong with him because he was a Navy lawyer. He went to Northwestern. Like, I think he thinks higher of himself than what he actually is, in my personal opinion. Nick loves Nick. Exactly, Lizzie. Exactly. All right, we're going to keep it going.
You also purchased,
Oh, he said he got checked. I don't know if I believe him. Can we believe him, though?
2.25C. Not this specific kit, but one that looked just like it, correct?
Yes.
I believe so, ma'am.
This was a 7-piece deer processing kit, correct?
That's what it says, ma'am.
Well, you saw the business records from Bass Pro, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And they indicated that you purchased that item. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't dispute that you did, correct?
No, ma'am.
And it's your testimony in court here today that you are not a hunter, correct?
That is correct.
You were not going hunting on November 29th of 2022, correct?
No, ma'am, I was not.
And just so we're clear, I'm going to show you States Exhibits 1.21, 1.22, 1.23, and 1.24. Do you recognize that car?
It looks like the
So blinking, because you said empathic blinks, and so I'm not sure. So I don't know that he blinked as much when his lawyer was asking him questions. The fact that he doesn't know where the prosecutor is going, and that makes a person have to regulate their emotions more. And what naturally happens, I've learned this from watching Dr. G Explains, and also some of the other people that talk about behavior analysis and all that stuff. The eyes, when we're stressed, they get watery. I'm sorry, they get dry. Our eyes sometimes get dry. Sometimes your throat, that happens to me when I'm live sometimes, not just from talking, but sometimes when you're stressed, your throat gets kind of dry. So you might start coughing, you might need water or whatever. But people can have a high blink rate when they're stressed. Somebody mentioned he has a twitch with his left eye. I don't know. But I don't know if that's, I don't know. So I watched Donna Adelson. Some of her twitches and things seems like she's making it happen. Like they don't always match all of her emotions and all. Like it seems over the top sometimes. I don't know what's happening with him, but we'll keep watching. During the verdict, he was blinking a whole lot. Okay, we'll keep it going.
same make and model car that I had.
And you don't dispute that you were down in a large wooded area on November 29th of 2022 at the time referenced in that photograph?
I don't really recall where I was, ma'am, but
You don't recall where you were?
right.
Okay. But just a moment ago, you said you didn't dispute that that was your path of travel that Agent Burney displayed for the jury, correct?
Correct, ma'am.
Thank you. I'm publishing to the jury. Photograph 1.1, rather 1.21. You saw Agent Sands testify, correct, concerning 1.117?
Yes, ma'am.
This is a Marathon gas station, correct?
I can't quite see it, but I believe so. Yes, ma'am. Yes, it is.
And there's also a business record attached there, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
That's from your Renaissance Bank records, correct?
I believe so, ma'am.
That was your vehicle, your card, and you that was present at the vicinity of 13689 East Oglethorpe Highway, Midway, on November 29th of 2022, correct?
I believe so, ma'am.
Nobody else swiped your card, right? That was you.
I believe so, ma'am. Yes, I do not have any reason to believe that was not me.
You didn't report your car stolen, right?
No, ma'am.
Didn't report your phone stolen?
No, ma'am.
Didn't report your wallet stolen?
No, ma'am.
So all along, you've always had possession of those, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And it was your testimony that also you were told to turn your phone off, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And in fact, you saw Agent Burney demonstrate the time gap of approximately 2 hours when your phone was off and still in the area of the Portal Hunting Club, correct?
I'm not sure where the phone was during that time, but because I believe it was turned off, but
What was with you, wasn't it?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. It was off, but on your person.
Or in my car.
Okay. And it's your testimony that you brought a black and a gray tote to that area, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And
I wonder, so I was watching his dad, okay? Because I get very interested in just kind of how and I don't, so I was just watching. I wonder if sometimes the family might have checked out a little in some of the back and forth, or just in order to manage their own emotions because they feel their son is being, I don't know, they believe his story. Because we're all sitting here like, how could his parents sit in that courtroom and hear all of this and still believe him? But I wonder if sometimes people might have checked out a little bit. I just wonder. My own personal thoughts. We'll keep it going. The prosecutor is just going through the evidence, okay? Like, you were here, you did this, you did all these things, and you're over here trying to tell us that it wasn't you. All right. So let's do this.
the photographs at the crime scene,
Yes, ma'am, I did.
it's your testimony you didn't.
And it is true there was no DNA recovered, but even like they were married, so it wouldn't be uncommon for a husband's DNA to be like to find some of a spouse's DNA on like so sometimes DNA isn't always DNA, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's the whole thing.
Clean this knife off, right?
That is correct, ma'am. I have never seen that knife before. It was introduced as evidence.
Oh,
This knife just happened to be there in the vicinity of the same black and gray colored totes that you referenced in your interview to law enforcement, correct?
I don't believe it just happened to be there, ma'am, but it was there.
And it was your testimony, correct me if I'm wrong, that you bought the deer processing kit to give to somebody as a gift?
Yes, to Mindy's younger brother, Matthew.
It was important to Mindi that you get him something he liked, right?
I believed so, but though I now have reason to question whether those messages were coming from Mindy or not.
But you don't have any reason to say otherwise other than that you're guessing, correct?
Correct.
But something so important to Mindi, you just left it at the house when you moved out, right?
I was extremely upset when I moved out, and I left a lot of things there.
So that was a yes, you left it at the house?
Yes, ma'am.
You never gave it to Matthew?
No, ma'am.
You heard testimony from Samantha, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
wife number 3.
And that was your third wife at the time, correct?
At the time, yes, ma'am.
You heard about the relationship leading up to you meeting her in person, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you started talking to her as early as late September 2022, correct?
I believe so, ma'am. I'm not
Wife?
100% sure, but that sounds right.
Well, you saw the text messages, right?
I didn't actually look at them that closely, but if they say late September,
And I didn't mention it, but wife number 3 kind of looks a little bit like, so wife number 1 looks different from wife number 2, but wife number 2 and 3 look a little bit alike. They both have dark hair. They have some similar, they look a little bit alike. Kathy pointed that out.
that would be correct. It was either late September or early October. I'm not 100% sure.
You were still married.
Those messages were not sent by Signal, correct?
Correct.
They were sent on social media, correct?
Correct.
Those messages were sent by you, correct?
I believe so.
I believe so. Sir.
Well, here. Let me give you 2 specifically to look at.
That sounds like a lawyer response. I believe so. What do you mean? I believe so. But I think that's I could be wrong, but it seems like something a lawyer would say.
1.95 and 1.98. Let us know when you've finished looking at them.
And you could just say yes. Instead of saying I believe so. But yeah, I skipped over that part. So wife number 1 actually helped with identifying Mindi. Because Mindy's parents thought she was already deceased. And so I don't think they ever suspected him. I don't think they ever thought that this would be what it became. And I think he was kind of betting on that. Because they would be the people that would raise the red flags first. Because they would report her missing, any of those things. In your opinion, what sort of mental conditions can a con man or pathological liar suffer from? So there's where, thank you for the super chat. So there are diagnoses like ADHD, OCD, even with PTSD. So with some people, they might have compulsive or pathological lying because like when they're stressed, they might. So if you ask them, did you do this in the moment? They might say no, but they actually did do it. But it's a stress response that like, it's a self-protective thing where they're lying, but it's self-protective. Because maybe when they were a child, they were harmed for just being a kid. But I also want to be careful that there are some people that grift and are con men and do pathological lying, but it's more of they're trying to take advantage of people. And there is no like mental health reason. Like sometimes we can look back and see if something fits into a category, but some people just do evil, bad things. And there's not a particular mental health reason or diagnosis. Like some people just do things that they shouldn't do. If he didn't want to be with his wife, he should have just divorced her. But I think he wanted to be like a widower. You know what I mean? Like I think he wanted, he almost had a baby, and like I think he wanted a certain story, and that is concerning. That is concerning, and so, and that's why I have this channel, and I like to educate about mental illness because there are people that have mental health conditions, and it's different than a situation where a person doesn't. And so I do not know whether he has one or not. He did not raise a mental health defense. I do cover cases where they plead not guilty by reason of insanity. It's very rare that a jury or a judge where that proceeds. So a lot of the people that attempt not guilty by reason of insanity, a lot of times they are convicted because you have to realize. So even if a person is even if they do have a mental illness, they can still be held responsible for their behavior. So I think he knew that killing his wife was wrong. That's why he tried to hide it. That's why he tried to change his name. I think he knew that what he was doing was wrong. He did it anyway. And that's problematic. Sometimes that can point to like so we have labels for things that just exist in human behavior, that just exist in human life. So, all right. I hope that's helpful. Let's keep it going. And a person can have both. And so, what's concerning to me is how he talks in the courtroom. He calls his father Wayne still. And maybe he always called his father Wayne, because he called he called his second wife M. That was just his name for her. He calls his father Wayne. Uh, it's it's just, I don't know why he got out of the military. Um, it seems like he was most successful when he was in the military. Uh, I have questions. Some people struggle because the military is very structured, and some people struggle with civilian life. And I've done videos talking about the transition with retirement, or like with going from military to civilian life. Because it can be a big adjustment for people that need the order that comes within the military system and military sector. He moved from Northern Virginia, which is a very like, it's all about like who has money. In Alexandria, the houses, I think like a 2 or 3 bedroom house starts at like $800,000. It's hard to find housing for under $500,000 in Alexandria, Virginia. My husband and I used to live up in that, up near that area, and we would have loved to have bought a house in Alexandria. I'm a psychologist. He's an aerospace engineer, and so Alexandria is a very professional, people are on point. I don't know. Like it can be this, I don't know, like this highfalutin. I don't know. Like there can be a vibe in Alexandria. And there are some parts of the South that have more of a casual, more comfortable feel, that where there's not this grind culture. Traffic isn't horrible. You don't have to wait in traffic for an hour and a half just to get to work. Yeah, it can be kind of elitist. It can be a little, I don't know. Like that's just how I feel. Wasn't he on the run for years? No, nope. So his wife went missing so we think something happened to her in late 2022. He was arrested in May of 2023. He got married to wife number 3 in April, and she got it annulled. So he was not the one that was on the run. All right. Let's keep it going. That's his dad.
I'm done, man.
Those are text messages or communications that you sent to Ms. Kolesnik, correct?
Yes.
And during those exchanges, there were several exchanges on a regular basis, correct?
Yeah.
And they started at the end of September of 2022, correct?
Yes.
And ultimately culminated with you going to see her on December 16th of 2022.
His wife.
That sounds right. Yes.
2 weeks after your wife was deceased.
Yes, ma'am.
But you initiated that relationship before she was dead.
I wouldn't say initiated that relationship, but we were talking. Like I've talked to many people online.
Well, you drove from Georgia to Missouri, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then from Missouri to Pennsylvania to go see her, right?
Yes, ma'am.
How many hours was that?
Quite a few.
And that's not on the way. So I don't know why he went to Missouri. I don't know what was going on in Missouri, because you can drive straight up 95 and go from Georgia to Pennsylvania. Like you don't have to. Missouri is way out of the way. Way out of the way. But okay. Let's keep it going.
I'm not sure exactly.
But you weren't just talking?
No, at that point we were,
Once your wife was deceased, you're now going to it, because I think he doesn't want to admit that he had an affair, because I think he gets off saying that wife number 1, and I believe wife number 1, I don't believe that she had an affair, but he tries to say that she had an affair. I think he wants to say, I didn't have an affair. I'm not like her. But like, dude, You told the woman you're talking to that your wife was dead. Your wife dies, and then you go and like marry this other woman, and you don't want to call it an affair. I can't. I can't.
We had progressed into more of a relationship, but I'm saying that that wasn't how things had started in September.
Right, but on December 16th, 15 days after you told your wife's parents she was dead, you drove to Pennsylvania from Missouri, correct?
15 days after I learned my wife was dead.
Thank you for mentioning that.
October 22nd of 2022, you told your,
I can't keep track of all the inconsistencies.
you told Mrs. Kolyesnik or Miss Kolyesnik
Ma'am.
on 1.95, she had an undiagnosed heart issue that was aggravated by her pregnancy, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Very sudden change in the way I thought life would look, but doing my best now to figure it out, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You were tugging on her heartstrings, weren't you?
No, ma'am.
You weren't trying to convince her you were single and available?
No, ma'am, I was not. That was a very similar conversation to one I had with any number of people, male and female.
But that doesn't make it better. I think he thinks saying that he told other people that his wife was deceased when she was very much alive, that if he had had that conversation with other people that he didn't marry, that makes this not an affair. But no, no, no. And then so that is where I think some people want to look to mental health to say, like, why doesn't he get that nobody else sees it this way? And that's where sometimes people that struggle with seeing the perspectives of others. So remember Sarah Boone, and when she looked at all the videos and the recordings that she had of George, she thought she was the victim. But we all looked at it and we're like, oh my gosh, she is so mean to him. Like, he's the victim. I feel sorry for him when I'm seeing him getting arrested and all those videos where he just looks sad and dejected and curled up in a ball. Like, I feel bad. I felt bad for him. But Sarah wanted this evidence in because she's like, when the jury sees this, they're going to be on my side. I think he's similar to that he's thinking the jury's going to be on my side. Like, there are other people that have conversations like this with random people. Like, I'm not the only one that said my spouse is deceased when they're alive. Sir. No, like, people, like, this is not normal. Like, no, people don't do that. But that doesn't mean that it's mental health. Does that make sense? And so he would have to be assessed to assess, is this mental health or not? But we're going to keep it going. The Jim. I just can't. I think he's Jim. Like, why won't he admit that he's Jim? Oh my gosh. Jimmy Mack.
Friends.
Right, because you had a conversation going on with Joy when you thought Mindi was going to die in COVID, correct?
Correct.
So that was another woman you were chatting with that you told this jury was a woman you had a relationship with
Correct.
while you were still married.
While I was still married, ma'am.
Okay.
But this one wasn't.
No, ma'am.
Well, because having an affair with, because I think this would make him look bad. So maybe he admitted to the other affair. I missed that part. So maybe he admitted to the affair with Joy because it's like, ooh, if I admit to this, they'll believe me when I say I didn't do this. Sometimes people do that. But because if I admit to having an affair right before my wife dies, that looks bad. It does. It looks bad. But my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh.
1.98, you indicated on November 8th of 2022, while terrified for your life.
Her face. I can't get over her facial expressions. The prosecutor's facial expressions. While terrified for your life. I can't. Oh, she's so great. I love her. Okay. I'm going to rewind it a little bit. We're on November 8th.
2022, while terrified for your life and staying in the house exclusively but to run errands, going to spend this weekend in Virginia, then New York, Bedford, Hudson Valley area, then on to New England until after Thanksgiving. So hopefully going to spend a little time poking around and seeing how a few spots feel in terms of life there. That was not true.
That was not true, ma'am.
You weren't trying to convince her to trust you?
No, ma'am.
Why make that up?
That was something we were regularly told to do, say that we would be in different places, and then if there was a concern, it would be somewhere that we weren't.
So Jim told you what to say in each of your text messages to Samantha?
Not in each, but it was something he would generally say, tell people that you're going to be traveling for the next 2 weeks. And then if there was a concern, it would be somewhere else.
Yeah. Jim. Oh.
After you found out that Mindi had passed, you testified to this jury, you never got a single document of any sort from the doctors, correct?
That is correct.
You just told this jury that you were a JAG officer, correct? For 10 years.
I was.
You checked every detail, right?
Yes.
Verified everything, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't get a single document at any point in any of the time after her death?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Death certificates, 1.68. They're registered with the state of Georgia. You're aware of that, right?
I am.
You never got a single copy of a document from a courthouse?
No, ma'am. I asked about it once and I should have followed up, but I did not.
You yourself as an attorney never got a single document.
No, ma'am. I didn't have any reason to have a document, and so I failed to follow up on it.
You were on trial for murder, correct?
Ma'am, I was not.
In anticipation of today, in your testimony, you knew you were on trial for murder, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you didn't bring a single court document with you.
Nothing.
Well, ma'am, I believe the testimony is fairly clear that I was lied to about Mindy's death and that I did not have a document because there were no documents.
You worked for APIS.
It's Jimmy's fault. Okay. So I got some shoulder puppets. This guy, he is like, I'm so glad I'm watching it with y'all. Like, I would have oh my gosh. So for my birthday, my husband, I don't remember which one I opened first. So there are 4 total. And I opened one, and then I thought that was it. Or I think I opened 2 maybe. And I thought that was it. And then my son, because my husband wrapped each one separately. And so my son is like, can I go get the rest? Yes, let me know all the things. And so my son went and got the rest. And so every so often, so he is just like, oh my gosh. So anxiety wants certainty and control. This is not sponsored by Inside. This is Disney. Don't get mad at me. Okay. Okay. But anxiety wants certainty and control. And this is not. So sometimes when we're watching trials like this, sometimes our helpful worry, because we're like, wait a minute, how can I protect myself from being in a situation like this? Okay, what kind of questions can I ask? Okay, how can we kind of navigate these situations? Sometimes our anger comes up and we're like, dude, just tell the truth or just don't say anything at all. You have choices. I feel incredibly sad for for her family. And I kind of his family. They also he's going to be where he needs to be for the rest of his life. So it is what it is. And so that's how I felt about the verdict. I needed a break from him for just a moment. Okay. Those made me a little bit happier. We can keep going.
Security, correct?
I believe so, ma'am.
No W-2, right?
At some point I saw a W-2, but
But you didn't bring one.
no, ma'am. I believe there was one in
get it all.
Discovery, but I don't recall.
You do. You believe there was one in Discovery?
I believe so, ma'am.
Can you tell us what document that was?
I can't recall. I believe it was a tax document.
Was there a W-4?
I don't recall. I'm not sure what it is.
She straight laughed at him. And that's how I think she knows the jury is on her side. And they're also looking at him like, what? Because this doesn't make any sense. He's not presenting evidence that will help him. He's trying to say my testimony clears me of everything. I said I didn't do it. Like, that's all you need. No, sir. The state has all this evidence. You can't just say I didn't do it.
Before is,
An
ma'am.
I-9,
No, ma'am.
no tax documents?
No. I-9s are for immigrations, proving that you're a citizen. So
What about tax records? You got paid, right?
it was paid into a trust, ma'am.
I don't
So
believe
you have zero records reflecting being paid.
I don't believe he was paid into a trust. I don't believe any of that, or if any payment went into a trust, it was to protect the bank accounts from the money that he owed his first wife. But I don't think he worked. He didn't pay any money. He was borrowing money from everybody else. I don't think he worked. Excuse me.
By APIS security, correct?
Well, I have the records that you provided to me during discovery. But
1.84. You provided Samantha with an employment verification, correct?
yes, ma'am.
You indicated you worked for them February 12th, 2018 to present. That was January 12th of 2023, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You never got a single paycheck?
Not paid to me. No.
So for 5 years, you worked for a company and got zero money handed to you.
Handed to me. Yes, ma'am.
You opened a bank account, correct?
I've opened. Can you be more specific, ma'am?
You opened Renaissance bank account, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
That was the account we saw the records for, ending in 141, right?
I don't know the number, but I believe so.
You signed it, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You went into the bank, right?
No, ma'am.
So that's not your physical signature on there.
It is my physical signature. I believe it was scanned and emailed.
And if it happened during COVID, there wasn't a lot of in the bank stuff. So if I don't know when the Renaissance Bank stuff is, but if it was around the Rona, then it could have been virtual. Also, because I did some transactions through the teller, like where I sent my ID and everything, or like signed documents through the teller. You couldn't physically go in the bank. I don't know when he's talking. I don't know most legit places where you can open an account without physically going inside because they want to verify you are who you say you are. But
It's your testimony you opened a bank account without going into the bank?
that's what
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You provided Samantha with a driver's license, right?
With the photograph of one, yes.
1.86. This is the license you sent her, correct?
So in September or early October, he was already lying about his name to wife number 3.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm showing the jury 1.111, which is the same photograph, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You're aware that there are no records in the state of Georgia reflecting a change of name to Stark.
I'm aware of that now, ma'am.
Well, you would have had to change your driver's license, right, sir?
Yes, I assume so.
I don't think he ever sold the home. Correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. So this question says, what did he do with the funds from the sale of the matrimonial home? So I think he refused to sell it. I don't think he ever sold the home. With all of this, she was hopefully able. Yeah, exactly. He never sold the house. And I don't think he probably didn't pay the bills on it. I don't know. He was a lying liar. And people can lie and not do crimes, like, and not like kill people, but like he lied and was convicted of unaliving his wife. So that's that. All right, we'll keep it going.
Delaware. This was issued January 13th, 2023, 1.112. That's you, right?
Yes, it is, ma'am.
Is that a current picture of you?
That was current at the time, ma'am.
Publishing to the jury. And it's your testimony that you got one under the name Kassotis because of a glitch at the DMV?
It wasn't a glitch, ma'am.
Well, you testified that the Social Security Administration told you it would update in 24 hours your name change,
They
right?
said likely 24 hours, so there was a chance it would be sooner.
So sooner still.
But it didn't, but sir, so that's where he doesn't like, but it didn't update at all. You never changed your name. What? So, but like he's not catching that she's caught him in his lies. But he's still being like, no, like I said it correctly. Sir, this doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. It just gets worse. We'll keep it going.
Right?
I hoped it would be sooner. That's why I went back to the DMV that afternoon.
Right. But
And the ID you got was for Nicholas Kassotis. You never got a Nicholas Stark ID.
in 1.106, you went on January 4th to change your name, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's your testimony that from January 4th of 2023, some 9 days later, it still hadn't updated?
No, ma'am. So there's a difference between the court document, which you go to court to get, and then the Social Security office, which you have to go in there and bring a copy of the court document to start that updating process.
Right, but you said you went the same day as you went to the Missouri.
No, ma'am. I said I went to the Social Security office in Delaware after I returned to the Delaware area from St. Louis.
You submitted driver's licenses for Delaware, Pennsylvania,
Your mic, Elaine. I'm sorry. I said all these things. I'm so sorry. So the question was, how did joy factor into all of this? And so that was just a past affair. Thankfully, it didn't have anything to do with with Mindy's death. So that didn't have anything to do. He tried to deny the affair with Samantha. And so I think that's why they brought up joy in cross-examination to almost impeach him for like, but you're not going to admit that this was an affair, and he's not. So so he doesn't I think his only active license, there's one state, I think he has like a retired license or something. I don't know. But like he let some of his license lapse, and he might have like a retired license. He went into that at some point. I just can't. I can't with Nicholas. Now that he's been convicted of 12 crimes and sentenced to life without the possibility of parole, he is probably going to, if he does have an active license, they'll get rid of it. All right.
and a name change.
He can also be a jail. Like he can be a jailhouse lawyer. Like sometimes that helps keep people safe and stuff. I don't know. But I wouldn't take his advice. He doesn't sound like he's a good person. Like I don't know that I don't know that I would take his advice personally, but
In Missouri, all within a week approximately,
I was trying to update my driver's license, yes.
in 3 different states.
No, ma'am. I had gotten a name change in Missouri, which had been our plan from the beginning. I was splitting my time between Delaware and Pennsylvania at the time, and I had gotten one license in Delaware that was not the correct name. I was going to be spending the next part of the next week in Pennsylvania. So the next business day, it was a holiday weekend. It was Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I went on that Tuesday into a DMV in Pennsylvania, and I got a license with what is now my legal name.
You remember it was a Tuesday, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
But you don't know your wife's doctor's name.
I Was never given her doctor's name.
You didn't
I like how that came back to bite him a little bit. And I don't know if our plan, so Kathy, is our plan, is that Jimmy? Is that Jimmy? I feel like he likes to add Jimmy. He does not have, I'm glad it never came up. He does not have like multiple personalities or anything like that. Like there's no evidence of anything like that. He is not Letitia Stout. And I forgot the name of the person. I think it was Maria. I think Letitia tried to blame Gavin's death on Maria, and no, like it was 100% Letitia. I'm so glad that I'm so glad Dr. Lewis didn't come into this one. It wasn't, but like I think he's Jimmy Mack, and this hour is like this bad part of him. So there is something called internal family systems. Great book called No Bad Parts, and healing harmful parts. So that part of him that like wants to take advantage of people, he needs to address that. And so internal family systems has been a great treatment for people with like antisocial type traits, because they need to address the part of them that gets off on like harming other people. Like you need to talk about that. And doing it from a non-judgmental way, doing it from just talking about it from a factual way, that can sometimes be really helpful. And so it's a book, no bad parts. Some therapists use internal family systems, and they'll talk about, you have your firefighter parts, you have these different parts of you. Not and internal family systems is used for DID, dissociative identity disorder, as well. I do not think he's anywhere near. DID is severe dissociation, like severe. The person really loses track of like who they are, all of that. He's not there. His lies are self-serving. All of them are completely self-serving. And so, oh my gosh. I think she's still, is her video one of my highest viewed videos? I'm gonna have to go look. It's not a video that I like, because I am in pain listening to a mental health professional. Like, it's a lot. A lot of people were concerned about Dr. Lewis. I don't know that she ever testified in a case after that, which was probably good. Retirement was probably a very good idea if that's what she did. But wow. Ooh, if you haven't, okay. Witness recommended veering into Ed Norton. Cool. All right. Oh, y'all. And then we are gonna watch the verdict too.
ask.
Ma'am, she wanted,
I asked you a question, sir.
no,
Did you ask?
I did not ask.
And I don't know that my husband would have known the name of my doctor, but my husband did know the name of the practice. So when I was pregnant with our son, and my husband went with me to our first sonic, he didn't go with me to the first appointment, because I knew I think I knew very early that I was pregnant, but I couldn't get my first appointment till I was 8 weeks. And this was my first son, my one and only child. Nobody's pregnant over here. Nobody's pregnant. I'm very perimenopausal, and my period was a little late. It was like 2 weeks. I don't know. It was really late. I did take a pregnancy test, and thank goodness, not thank goodness, but that's not the plan that we are currently looking at or anything. Kids are expensive. Woo. Congrats to anybody that is pregnant, to anybody that's expecting a child. I love children, other people's children. I will play with them. My son is now 8, and I love this age because he can like rationalize, and we can have great conversations, but like, yes. All right. So, oh my gosh. So like practice name, like he didn't even like, where does she go to her doctor's appointments? Do you have a sonogram? Anything? And I don't believe any of it's true. I just don't. It just doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel right.
She was 8 months pregnant, you said, correct?
Correct.
You never visited her at the hospital,
Yeah, I was told not to.
and you listened?
Yes, ma'am.
First child, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Desperately wanted kids.
I wouldn't say desperately wanted kids, but I wanted kids.
You'd been trying since Heather, right?
Yes. Well,
How
on
many
and
years was
off.
that?
Mindy and I didn't start trying to have kids immediately, but
Well, you testified there was a miscarriage in the middle, correct?
yes, ma'am. That miscarriage was in, July of 2021.
So for years, you had been trying to get pregnant,
Yes, ma'am.
and your wife was finally 8 months pregnant and terribly ill, correct?
Yes, ma'am. I believe
And-
so.
And you never went to see her.
No, ma'am. I was talking to her and checking on her, but I did not physically go there because I did not think it was safe to.
Well, just in your testimony earlier, you said texting, not talking.
Yes, ma'am. I use them interchangeably. I'll be more clear.
You never spoke to her.
No,
is
ma'am,
what you're
I
getting.
tried to multiple times, but we couldn't get a good enough signal to have a conversation.
I don't believe she was ever in a hospital because I think he's trying to say she died in a hospital and there's no record of it. And there's no way that would happen. Absolutely none. Because he's trying to make it sound like he was in witness protection. Hey, Langston. Oh, my child can't hear me. I'm going to play this.
And when you couldn't get her, you didn't go see her.
No, ma'am.
You're an attorney at the time of all of this, correct?
I don't believe I was at that time. No, ma'am.
I mean, you don't forget how to be a lawyer, do you?
No, ma'am. I hope not.
Right? So when you filled out this paperwork for the Missouri change of name, you indicated that you did not owe anybody any judgments.
That was my understanding. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we're going to get back to him saying he didn't owe anybody any money. Because honestly, so at 8 months, if a birthing person dies at 8 months, the child can still, like, depending, 8 months is like 36, 30, like the child might survive and be full term. The body will go through the process, like, so like there are things that can happen. I'm not a medical doctor. I know some of these things. Check with the medical doctor for the medical stuff, but I don't think she was ever pregnant. I do not think she was ever pregnant. And if she had been in a hospital and she was that sick, they would have asked whoever her guardian, they would have asked somebody, or, if she was alert enough to answer for herself, you decide life of the mother, life of the child. And at 8 months, they are going to, and in Georgia, I think it's life of the baby. I think Georgia has a rule. I could be wrong. I think Georgia, they're gonna try to save that baby. And so I don't think any of this is true at all. I don't think she was pregnant. I just don't. I think he lied about the 8 months thing to almost for people to feel sorry for him that he lost a child. Because he had talked about the miscarriage earlier, and maybe people don't. I don't know, but like I just Nicholas, dude. Oh.
That there were no cases requesting money pending against you, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yet you stood in a court of law in front of a judge who told you when to be back to settle what was owed to Miss Thomas, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you didn't go.
I didn't go because I believed that was already settled.
Lies.
You're an attorney at the time, right?
Yes, ma'am. At that time, I absolutely was.
You know, if you don't show up to court, what happens?
They would, if I still had a hearing there, if I had not paid that money, I would have been held in contempt.
You called Heather to confirm she got paid?
I did not, ma'am. And nor did she call me, nor did she come to the house that we had shared that I continued living in for 9 months afterwards.
You have been exchanging a series of emails back and forth with Heather for days leading up to that court hearing, correct?
I don't believe I had. No, ma'am.
It's your testimony you didn't.
No, ma'am.
Laugh.
Miss Thomas was following you repeatedly to the point that you thought that she was actually potentially one of the people causing you trouble.
Yes, ma'am.
But you think she just evaporated?
Because I believe she had gotten the money that she wanted.
If you would know, if you owe me $300, you would know when I receive it. If he owed her 1.5 million, he would know when she received it. Like I just can't.
Then tell us why she would be a danger to you.
At that point, I no longer believed that she was a danger to me.
When was that?
That was shortly around the time that I believe the payment had been made to her, and she stopped contacting me altogether. Never came by the house, never called my phone.
But you just told this jury that Jim McIntyre was looking into it for you.
He was, and he said that he had determined that Heather was not involved and that he had wired the funds.
And also there's a part of me that wonders if Nick might have tried to convince Mindy that she was pregnant, because there is a shared so like I wonder if he tried to convince her, like, because I wonder if she was aware of this Jim person and that Jim told him that I don't know, like, this is a lot. This is a lot. We're gonna try to get through a little bit more of this, and then I'm gonna shift over to the sentencing. All right, let's go.
Talk about your marriage license, the application, 1.92.
Absolutely.
You listed people that are not your parents, correct?
At the
We're gonna get into that. Because and that's lying on a marriage license. So I think he probably could have been charged with a crime for that. I think you swear when I did my marriage license. I think you swear that that's true. Like when you provide your parents' names and everything, I'm pretty sure that that stuff has to be true. I don't think you can lie about that stuff. Nicholas be lying about silly stuff. Okay, marriage license.
Absolutely.
You listed people that are not your parents, correct?
At the time, I believed them to be my parents.
They're sitting in this courtroom now, right?
Yes, my parents are.
You don't disbelieve that Linda and Wayne Kassotis are your parents?
Not anymore, no ma'am.
And with all due respect to your father sitting here, that's the man you moved 100 plus times because you were afraid of?
I wouldn't say 100+ times, but yes, ma'am. We moved probably 50 times because I was terrified.
Well, the 2 times that you just talked in direct testimony, you said 15 to 25 times twice, and then moved countless other times, correct?
I wouldn't say countless other times, ma'am.
Well, your recollection was every time you moved a week, right? You could tell this jury when you were in each different place, correct?
Yeah. I have because we move so often, it's actually pretty easy for me mentally to remember where we were.
Because I'm so smart. Because I'm so smart. I am so great at remembering all of these things, but I don't know where it really matters. Grizzly has both law enforcement interviews. Oh my gosh. Let's see. I'm just catching up on the police interviews were played because he's lying. Some of his story has changed, I think, from his police interviews. And I think he admitted to lying about about something to the police because the story he's telling now is different, I think, than some of the stuff he said in the interviews. Typically, memory gets so there is a natural decline to anyone's memory. There are things we can do to keep ourselves mentally strong and fit. And so that's why sometimes when people retire, if they don't stay, like if they don't do crossword puzzles or if they don't keep their brain active, sometimes they will have like they'll start to forget things and it doesn't fit into like dementia or Alzheimer's. It's just typical aging, but he thinks he's awesome and he remembers what he needs to fill a certain story and then forgets the things that would actually that would make sense, I guess.
When, because oftentimes we were only in a place for 2 days. So if you remember the 4th of July happened while you were in that house, you know when you were there.
Okay.
But you don't remember your wife's doctor.
No, ma'am.
Let's just be clear, 2.32. This is Mindi, right?
Absolutely, ma'am.
During your interview with law enforcement, you didn't even ask what happened to her.
Oh, wow.
I did ask, ma'am. During the first interview, I asked what happened to Mindi, and Mr. Sands told me that at this time he did not believe that I presume the district attorney, wanted to make that information public.
You didn't ask about your baby either, did you?
No, ma'am.
Not once in 2 hours and 10 minutes, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And not once in almost 2 hours in Liberty County, correct?
Well, ma'am, in Liberty County, as you all saw, was the time I was told that Mindi had not been pregnant when she died.
Until they told you, you didn't ask about the baby either, right?
No, ma'am.
You told your in-laws that your wife died December 1st of 2022, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Immediately after I was told, I went back to the house and told them.
And then the next day you went and got your car washed, or was that the same day? I'm showing 1.110.
I don't recall what day that was, ma'am.
Well, that is your car, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So after you found out your wife was dead, you went to the car wash. Is that right?
Apparently, ma'am.
Well, that is your bank record, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, at some point I went and got my car washed. I don't recall getting my car washed, but I may have. It appears I did.
And you went and picked up some beer, right?
Yes, ma'am. I was drinking probably a scary amount at this point.
I don't know why. So sometimes when people are lying, they try to tell the truth about something to make themselves look more believable. And so that's just something that sometimes happens because it's like, why would he admit to drinking? But I think it's to try to get the jury to believe I'm being truthful. I'll even admit that I drink at that time I was drinking too much. But I don't think any of this is true. I just don't. I'm with the prosecutor. It make sense. And he can't. He's making it worse. Like it's getting more confusing to me. And I make a living out of helping people make sense of things. And I can't. I can't make sense of his story. It doesn't make any sense the way he's telling it. Exactly.
During your direct examination, I didn't hear any reference to 2.44 or 2.43, the rug, correct?
Correct, ma'am.
You don't dispute that this rug is the one you left the house with, 2.44?
No, ma'am. That looks right.
And 2.43 is what was there when you got there?
I wonder if the jury suspected that Mindi was in the rug he took with him. And because he's going to try to explain that that the blood wasn't, I don't know. I'm just going to play it. And it's what he says isn't going to make any sense.
There?
I believe so, ma'am.
And you replaced these because you said Rusty threw up on it?
Yes, he always had kind of a stomach that was sensitive to eating too much, and he was known to beg for food. So sometimes Betsy and Frank would overeat him, and he would get sick.
Now we're playing Betsy and Frank.
You didn't just clean the rug?
No, ma'am. Mindi had put it in a plastic bag and stuck it out back because it smelled. And by the time I had time to try to clean it, 2 days had passed, and the entire thing smelled absolutely awful.
Had nothing to do with the blood that was underneath the rug, right?
There was no blood underneath the rug.
Well, you saw the photographs here, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it your testimony that law enforcement somehow put Blue Star on the floor of that house?
Ma'am, I have no idea what blood that is or when it was there, and unfortunately, law enforcement never tested that.
Right.
So this is where sometimes being smart and thinking you're smart and being a lawyer might kind of bite you in the rear end. My kiddo, I don't know if you can hear me, but he has headphones on. He's watching something on YouTube Kids, but okay. He's trying to say, almost like blame law enforcement. Oh, well, they didn't test it, so we really don't know whose blood that is. Which, okay, but could it be Mindy's? I don't know.
And so the blood on the futon that was Mindy's?
Oh, okay.
I have no idea how that blood got there, ma'am.
Okay.
I didn't spend a lot of time in that room, so
You lived in the house, right?
yes, ma'am.
It was also your testimony that initially Jim was an FBI agent, right?
I believed he was for, gosh, 2 years, over 2 years.
And at some point you determined that he was not, correct?
Yes.
You didn't move after you figured that out, right?
No, as I testified, we had a big argument about whether or not we should, stop dealing with him altogether.
You also didn't move after your father and uncle showed up at your house, right?
That is correct.
You were moving hundreds, or at least my apologies, at least 50 times,
Yes,
correct?
ma'am. Yes, at least 50 times, definitely.
Over 7 years, correct?
Yeah.
How long was it?
I have 5 years. Yeah.
5 years. So over 5 years, you kept moving because that man was your threat.
Yes, ma'am.
And when he showed up at your door with your uncle, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't move.
No, ma'am. I asked to.
So at this point, you actually knew he knew where you were.
Yes, ma'am.
You ran out the back.
After I talked to Jim, yes, I departed via the back of the house.
Right. You said you called.
Wait a minute. But at this time, we know Jim isn't an FBI agent. Why did you call Jim? Why would you call? Like, none of it it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. But he's saying it with a straight face.
Jim, didn't you?
Yes, on Signal. But you can make voice calls or I believe even video calls now through Signal.
But yet when law enforcement spoke to you the first time in Pennsylvania, you said he just showed up. Right?
No, ma'am.
Law enforcement specifically asked you, how did Jim know where to find you? And you said he just showed up.
No, ma'am. I said it didn't take him long to get there, which I thought clearly indicated that I had contacted him. But apparently there was some confusion on Mr. Sand's part. He then later said that I was clearly asked that twice, and I've listened to that interview about 40 times, and I've never heard it asked even once, clearly.
You've had access to all this material, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You knew what the state's case was, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
No documents here with you today.
No, ma'am.
You indicated at some point that it was very important for you to figure out who of Mindi's friends would need to know, correct?
Absolutely, ma'am.
Okay. So y'all know I get to a point where sometimes it's like, oh, I just can't with him anymore. I have listened to as much as I can possibly take, and it is painful. So we are going to move directly into the verdict, and then the judge's statements. I will answer any final questions you all have. What did he claim? So with his father, so at some point, Nick thought that his parents weren't his actual parents, and he was on the run from them. And he like broke off all communication. He said Jimmy McIntyre, this made up, in my opinion, federal agent, not a federal agent, was telling him to move and telling him that all these people were out to get him. I don't know that any of that's true. And so, yeah. As a JAG lawyer, and that's where it's hard to think that he wouldn't understand how the FBI works or how police works. So with JAG, so I've been contacted by NCIS before, the Navy Criminal Investigation Service or whatever, NCIS. And a JAG lawyer would have knowledge of how investigations work and all those things. And so, what did he claim motivation was for his dad to want to hurt him? I don't, it's hard to follow all these things. It really is. Was it that, because at first it started that there was an article that he wrote. So it doesn't make any sense to me. Okay. The deeper you try to get into the weeds with this, none of it makes any sense. You can feel, if you can tolerate it, listening to him explain it all, but realize he's now explaining it to try to get away with, to try to be found not guilty. So everything he's saying now is because he wants to desperately be found not guilty. And a person that is truly not guilty will have the same aim. But in my just personal thoughts is that the way a person explains and tells things, he was over explaining. He was giving information that wasn't needed. He was giving details that didn't make any sense. He knew everything about a bunch of stuff and then nothing about the really important stuff that related to the death and disappearance of his wife and why his cell phone pinged at the locations where her body was found. And his explanation is that Jimmy Mack told him to go there. And so it's just like, ooh, I just can't with him. All right. The judge was so on point, and we are going to listen to that now. All right. So let's first watch the verdict. Okay. Court TV is going to have a sound. Okay. So prepare yourself for that sound.
State of Georgia.
Ooh, and it is like it's staticky. So if I will not interrupt it, we're just going to do the first charge. Just know he was found guilty of all 12 counts.
Versus Nicholas James Kassotis. Count 1, malice murder, guilty. Count 2, felony murder, guilty. Count 3, aggravated assault, guilty. Count 4, concealing death of another, guilty.
Welcome back.
All right. So he was found guilty on all charges. And then I thought, let's see if this is the judge's statements. Let's see.
2 weeks present.
Nope. All right. Because I want to get to the judge. It'll probably focus on the judge when it gets to his statements. Yeah, he stands up. The judge's statements were spot on. And so that is the part that we're going to get to now. Sorry, while I find my space.
Not there.
All right, let's find it.
Mr. Kassotis is a highly educated man. He's a man that served his country honorably. You've heard a lot of testimony, not just from his parents, but from witnesses on the stand of his kindness. I think there is an opportunity for rehabilitation in this case.
That was the defense lawyer was trying to say rehabilitation, and because they tried to ask for life with the possibility of parole. So that was the defense attorney. Hey, Doug. Doug did his best.
Has the right to address the court if he so chooses.
Let me verify. He will not be addressing the court, Your Honor.
And then have him stand for sentencing. Mr. Kassotis, a jury of 12 citizens in Liberty County, Georgia, has now determined beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty of the offense of murder, along with 11 other counts. This jury has spoken very clearly. It is now my duty under the law to impose a sentence that is consistent with that verdict. And it's also my duty to look at the evidence and weigh the sufficiency of that evidence. And sir, the evidence in this case is supported by a mountain of compelling evidence. This case has revealed a level of depravity that truly shocks the conscience. To put together this elaborate scheme, this web of lies, creating this fictional character, Jim McIntyre, who does not exist. You wrote fiction, and your life was a fiction, at least the last 6 or 7 years. And then you carried out, or the evidence shows that you carried out a brutal, horrific, gruesome murder of Mindi, someone who's been described by various witnesses as beautiful, kind, loving, vibrant, smart. And all of her hopes and dreams vanished in an instant. Her life tragically cut short by you. Someone who professed to love her, to care for her. Just the ultimate betrayal. And then you desecrated her body in such a vile way, discarding her remains out in a rural area of Liberty County, hoping that they would never be discovered. This shows beyond all doubt that you have no conscience.
That's what the judge said.
When I described to this jury this morning the elements of the crime of malice murder, the language used in the Georgia statute is that the circumstances show an abandoned and malignant heart. That describes you. You have caused so much harm to your own family, to all of those who have been impacted by your deeds. This is truly a heinous crime. So the court has considered all the facts and circumstances of the case. And the court will now impose sentence that reflects the gruesome nature of your criminal conduct. As to count one, malice murder, the court hereby imposes a sentence of life without the possibility of parole. Although you've been convicted in count two of felony murder, that count would merge into count one. As to count three, the sentence of the court for aggravated assault is 20 years to serve in the state penitentiary, and it runs consecutive to count one. Count four, concealing the death of another, the sentence of the court is 10 years to run concurrently to count one. Count five, possession of a knife during the commission of a felony is required to be consecutive. So the court imposes a sentence of 5 years consecutive to count one.
So this is a great question about Nick's parents. And so I do not know what, because I think he cut them off for a long period of time. And in order for somebody to justify why their child would do that to them, they might think he truly was manipulated by this other person that the state didn't try to find, or I don't know, like the parents might truly believe some of the things that he said, and be overlooking some of the evidence. So, okay, I'll say it. Because dad is retired law enforcement. If this wasn't his son and everything was the same, would he believe it? That sometimes our own bias about a person can cloud our mind about what they're capable of. So I'm a licensed psychologist. I do not assess my own clients. So if I have an active current client that needs a psychological evaluation, I do not assess them because I want them to get a neutral assessment. Because in my mind, I already have some ideas of what I think might be there, or some concerns that I think they might have. So I refer them out to somebody else. So if a current client needs an assessment, they have to get that. Because I think the best type of assessment is by a neutral person, because there's nothing clouding somebody's mind. So I'm a licensed psychologist, and what I know about a client can cloud my mind about what I think they might be capable of, or what they may or may not do. So that's where I have to look at facts. I have to look at patterns of behavior. If a client starts showing warning signs, or like if some things start happening, that's where I have to do my clinical job and be aware of things like countertransference, or be aware of like blind spots that anybody can have. We often have blind spots to people that we love the most. Now there's some of us that are skeptical. Okay. So like, there's some of us that are like, yeah. So there's some people that are skeptical, and they would But then there are other people that they want to think the best of the family member that they love. This is also because remember, if you raise somebody that did this, some people would look at the parents and be like, what did the parents do wrong? And honestly, it seems like he was okay. He lived a relatively okay life until about 6 years before, like until he started going into these weird, like, I wonder what the divorce from his first wife did to him. Like if he felt like if I like I wonder what happened. I wonder if even his first wife would say there was some change in him, and not clinical. I'm just saying like to his ego and everything. Cuz I think he wanted to be portrayed and I think he wanted to be seen a certain way. And I think his parents kind of they still see him as that innocent person that could never ever do this. And I looked at the evidence but I don't know him and I don't know Mindi. I don't know any of their families. So I feel like sometimes we can have a more objective view. And that's why we give it to a jury of regular citizens. That's why we do this. And that jury convicted in an hour and 15 minutes. An hour and 15 minutes was all the jury needed. And the jury four-person did do an interview. I'm not gonna play it. I need to go to the bathroom. I'm gonna finish up in the next, like, 4 to 5 minutes. But, I was debating taking a bathroom break during one of these things. I drank the rest of my kombucha. I drank all of my lemonade, and so, like, Imma need a break. And y'all, if people that have been here the whole time, thank y'all so much. Um, and so when my child so it's normal for children to lie, it's normal for teenagers to lie. My child, I give him a redo. So and then I don't ask him questions if I already know the answer. So it's just me and my husband, and if I didn't do it and my husband didn't do it, and then we just have one like, dude. So this morning, because my son, after he eats his dessert, he's supposed to throw away his trash. This morning, the trash was still there. And so I was like, hey, buddy, the trash, go ahead and throw it away. And you're not going to be able, because he gets special privileges to eat in front of the TV if he cleans up after himself. But he didn't clean up. So I didn't say, did you forget to throw away the trash? Like, I can see it there. The trash wasn't thrown away, and he didn't throw it away before I woke up. Because if he had thrown it away before I woke up, I don't care. Like it would have been fine. But by the time I woke up, the trash was still there. And so we have natural consequences for like not telling the truth. And I try to create an atmosphere where he feels comfortable enough to tell the truth. Anybody will lie at some point to try to protect themselves, not get in trouble, avoid punishment, all those things. I try to have my child not lie about other people. I mentioned here on the video before, my kid didn't like another kid. I think it was first grade. I think it was in first grade. He really didn't like this one kid. And he was telling us that the kid was messing with his lunch. But the stuff my kid was saying, it didn't make any sense. And before I reached out to the other child's parent, I sat my kid down and I was like, hey, don't make me look like a fool. Like, if this isn't true, and my kid admitted, yeah, it wasn't, I might have made some of that up. He admitted it, and it was like, hey, don't do that. Like, so I don't believe my child like at all. Like something didn't make sense. Something didn't feel right. Mommy intuition. So we sat him down and we were like, hey, is it really true? He was like, no, like it really didn't happen that way. And it was fine. We talked about it, addressed it. Okay. But I do think that people make their own decisions. So I don't know what his childhood was like. I don't know, like, so every parent could do something different. I've talked about my own, childhood. So I was a latchkey kid. I was a good kid, so I didn't run away. I didn't sneak people in. I didn't break big rules or anything like that. The biggest thing I did, my mom didn't want me to like eat in certain parts of the whole house, and I would do it anyway if I wanted to. Like, she wasn't there, so but I would get in because I would forget to clean up. So I know where my son gets it from, the whole forgetting to clean up, because I would do the same thing. I would get in trouble. It is what it is. Okay. But and I couldn't lie. I was an only child too. I was only child in my mom's house. And so if she didn't do it, I did it. And so my cousins came and stayed with us for like a year, I think. And like 2 or 3 years after they left, I was still lying and being like, Leon, I think my cousin Leon. I was like, I think Leon did that. Something broke. I think Andrew, the cousins that weren't there anymore. And so I believe I can love somebody and still hold them accountable. So I don't think love comes without accountability. And I do believe there should be some conditions. I do. Uh, there's not a psychological to enter the military. So only if a person has a history of like being hospitalized or something, they have to take a test to get into the military. Depending on the job you have, sometimes there might be something. Sometimes if issues arise while a person is working, because I've done fitness for duty evaluations before. Because like if somebody goes off on somebody at work, or if they make a threat at work or something, sometimes they have to do fitness for duty evaluations. Sometimes people are referred to the medical board if they have a significant mental health condition that can't be managed, and if they're no longer able to serve in the service, they can be discharged for psychiatric reasons. That is something that can happen. We don't have any knowledge that any of that happened here. Okay, so we have no knowledge that any of that happened. Do you think he believed any of it? Oh my gosh, like I think he wants to. Like, I don't know that he wants to admit that he did all those things. So sometimes denial, there can be this like, because if somebody really admits it, sometimes they sometimes they do bad, like they so there was a local story. This guy was going to be arrested by federal agents on the 15th floor of an apartment building in Alexandria. And so trigger warning, because he's not here anymore. He was not, they dropped the, like, he wasn't able to be arrested. I think he had scammed multiple women online. And that's why the federal government was involved and he was about to be charged with things. And so, yeah. And then there are other people that are faced with a bad situation and they say, I can talk my way out of it. And he could not. Nick could not talk his way out of it. And so, do we have any guesses as to what the trigger was? He was already talking to wife number 3 and telling wife number 2 was already deceased. I think a part of the lying to wife number 3 was for sympathy and also losing the baby. Like, I think that was for sympathy to feel bad for him. A lot of that centered around him, I think. And so it is what it is. If your son has 5 times, I don't know. He changed his name so much. like if a person has to change their name this much, but I think he was also trying to get away from those legal judgments too, because his wife number 1 was trying to get her money. She was like, I put out something to all banks in Virginia to try to find any money in his name, and she wasn't able to find it. Excuse me while I parent. Yes. Okay. Are you all done? I'm about to come downstairs too. If you want to watch YouTube on my profile, I'll be down in just a few minutes. Okay. All right. So I will be live tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm going live with Paul. My internet is fixed. So I was able to figure out, because I plug into the wall. Like I have a Ethernet port, but on my Mac, if I don't turn my Wi-Fi off. So I think last time I was connected, but the Ethernet, I don't know, something happened because the connection for my last one with Paul wasn't great. But I figured it out for tomorrow. Tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are going to be talking about the Aaron Patterson. A bunch of evidence came out that didn't come into trial that was worse. Aaron Patterson, the Australia mushroom beef Wellington lady, she had supposedly tried to kill her husband multiple times. She had tried to poison him multiple times. It makes more sense why he wasn't at the dinner, but he thought he was the only one in trouble. He never thought his parents or anybody else would be targeted. She did. And so, so please, I love the replay crew. Thank you so much. Welcome, Poetic Justice. I really enjoy going live and having these conversations with you all. As you all have questions, feel free to let me know over in the main comments. Ooh, Kathy, she is woo. And so Paul and I are going to sit down and check it out. Kathy did a collaboration with Paul talking about Donna, or that's coming out. I think it might be coming out, or it came out last night. I need to catch up. But I appreciate you all. I hope y'all have a good rest of the day. Bye.